Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome back to the show. Well, this week saw the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, a whole bunch of YouTubers collectively losing their minds, the second week of the Freedom Convoy, the announcement of the end of mandates in parts of Canada, which of course had nothing to do with the aforementioned convoy, and I don't know about you, but I could use a drink. But I'm not drinking alone, no sir. But in addition to my lovely Blue Wrench and better half netter of Netters Network, and my designated driver, Aged Boomer, we also have returning to the show Stephanie Janiczek of Stephanie Janiczek's Smuggler's Cantina, and Steven Deleted Scenes Otten. So top off your glasses and buckle up, because we're moving out after this message. What is a bigger part of a forceful breakfast than cool, fresh, blue bantha milk? And what better way to start your weekend than dark blue milk cooler from Sid's Parlor in Ord Mantell City? Relax, hydrate, and enjoy dark blue milk cooler with friends. It may not be your only hope, but it's not a bad one. So nobody has to ask me what I'm sipping on, because that's what I'm sipping on. I got my dark blue milk cooler from Ord Mantell. So that is canon, by the way. If you are watching, which honestly I haven't yet, but if you've been watching Bad Batch, they talk about an alcoholic version of bantha milk, and that's what I put together. The recipe, for those of you that want to know, because I did promise last week I would share it with you. 2 ounces of rum chata, 1 ounce each of coconut rum, pineapple juice, and blue curacao. So actually I added a little bit of coconut, what do you call it? Coconut extract, just to give it a little bit more coconut flavor. I think I could use more pineapple, but Netter, what do you think of it? Because I know that's what you're sipping on.
Yes, I am.
My Blue Wrench is a little bit drunk on blue milk.
It's all his fault.
But no actual milk in it, of course. I was telling Stephanie...
Well, rum chata is sort of milky.
Well, I think it's rice milk. I'm not entirely certain.
Well, that's milk.
But I was telling Stephanie behind the scenes that I looked up what they're serving at the Disney parks. And when I saw the recipe, I was like, ugh, no wonder people didn't like it. I could do better than that. And I think I did. It looks right. It tastes good. And I'm feeling a little mellow, so that's a good thing. So Stephanie, I know that you're not sipping on anything but water now, but what were you sipping on tonight?
I was sipping on, now don't mock if you're a wine drinker.
Never here.
Robert Mondavi Private Reserve Cabernet, that it's 100% Cabernet whatever. Mm-hmm. It's slightly more expensive than the usual, and it's not. I'm going to say this: there are the big brands like that. They're doing a good job selling drinkable wine. And for you people who like hard liquor, try the Cabernet casked in bourbon barrels.
Oh, that sounds yummy.
It will change your life. And they have a Merlot that's casked in rum barrels, and a red blend that is casked in rye barrels. And they're all good. They're all good. They're all really, really good.
I heard from someone who really knew wines. They were talking through all the talking points on wines, and they said, but bottom line, do you like it? If you like it, that's a good wine. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
Yeah, and I've had my favorite wine is Chateau Montelena Cabernet. And if you've seen the movie Bottle Shock, that they talk about the Chardonnay, and the Chardonnay that's the best Chardonnay in the world, period. They sell it for like $50 a bottle. but they make a Cabernet Sauvignon that is just, the first sip, you taste it and it's smoky. It tastes earthy.
Nice.
It tastes like where it came from, and which is what you want from a particular vineyard. When you drink a wine, you want to know this was made at this place, and it is so good. I can't even describe it, and I've had it enough to where if I had the money, I'd probably have a bunch of it here just to have it because it's so good.
Yeah.
And the Chardonnay is, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Do you have a space in your house that would serve as a wine cellar, like a basement or something like that?
We're doing, eventually we're going to get, and we were going to do this. In fact, my husband said, get ready this winter. We're going to do the basement, and I want to do a media room where I can play games, watch movies, and with a bar in it. Not big, just something, for people to like a small group to kind of like go in there. We also have a place to work out. There's not a lot of storage. The problem with this house, when we saw it, it was great, but we didn't think we needed a lot of storage.
Yeah.
So all of my Christmas stuff is out in the basement, like in boxes. We don't know what we're going to do with it. I mean, we don't know how we're going to make it. So it's, you go into basements like at model homes and you're like,
yeah, I get you.
You know what I'm saying? There's room. And it's like, there's no room down here. We thought there was, and there isn't.
I real quick want to get, Stephen, how late do we have you for the night, or do you have to jump out soon, or let me just see what your availability is?
You've got me for the night. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, guys, don't be surprised when I'm favoring Stephanie. I know she's already told me she's on limited time. She's going to be backing out early, so we're going to favor her a little bit. But, Stephen, as long as I got your attention, what you sipping on?
I've got some sweet tea and some milk here.
Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to drink booze, just so long as you're being social. That's good on you, man. And Age of Boomer, what you sipping on?
I got a mucho mango.
This in the glass container?
No, this is not Snapple.
No more
It's
glass
Arizona.
Containers on these, right?
It's a can. No, but this isn't Snapple. It's Arizona. The
Oh,
Arizona
gotcha. Oh, those big
big
aluminum
cans.
things.
Yes, I got a mucho mango. And there's some interesting chat messages. Deep Pensick says, "Oh, maybe you want to get to it."
Well, yeah. We'll come back to Skipper Kenner, who couldn't stay, but he's got some great talking points there. Matt Anui says, "Hi, deleted scenes is right here." Hail chat. Netter, of course, is going through with all of her hi sweeties. Deep Pensek, hey, how you doing, my friend? Artificer Joni, welcome. Let's see here. Jedi Padawan Trailer, how you doing? Hello, good to see you. Sweet Victory, Bad Batch is really good, y'all. I'll get to it. I promise. I honestly haven't finished Rebels yet, but I'm getting there. I'll get it done. Matanui, going through Clone Wars. Clone Wars was really good. Yes, I honestly felt like Clone Wars Clone Wars was necessary because I felt there was so much missing from the prequels,
Yep.
Let's see. Artificer Joni, apologies. I missed last week. Oh, don't apologize for missing a stream. I mean, it's just come and hang out when you can, Visiting a friend and almost lost my notes for the book I want to write. That is not a good thing. I would recommend, I don't know how you do your notes. I would keep them on computer and make multiple copies. That's what I do. Let's see here. Just some other guy. Haven't seen you here before, although I've seen you on many other streams. Greetings, good to see you. Just some other guy. Nobody is just anyone here. Everyone here is someone that I appreciate. Go Team Ghost Planet. Your first comment fell off, but technically you were first. So I will acknowledge that. Jedi Padawan Trailer. I don't know about the drinks because I don't drink, but the good it Galaxy. You heard that it was subpar at Galaxy. Look, I didn't even taste it, but I read the recipe, and it sounded terrible.
It sounded like there's oil in it. And
They were going for vegan, non-dairy, everything, and it's like, you know what? If you want to have an option for somebody, whether that's a dietary restriction, that's fine. But for crying out loud, let's do some milk and fruit juice or some almond milk or something. I mean, let's...
if they're going to do vegan, do almond milk, for Christ's sakes. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Full agreement with you.
Let's see. Food at Galaxy's. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been to the parks in 20 years, so I don't even know. But you know what? Every single food and drink that they have, you can find a recipe for it online. Yeah. And I can tell and I can go, oh, that sounds really good, and replicate the recipe. Or, no, that sounds like trash, and come up with something better. I don't mean to be conceited, but I can come up with something better.
Yeah.
We are still sub to you and Troy both. Thank you. Yeah, Team Ghost Planet has had some trouble with the YouTubes, but she's always faithful, and I super appreciate that. Semper Fi. Sweet Victories. Again, another one. I think you guys were all just here for Stephanie.
No. God.
Please subscribe to me. Clone Wars gave George the liberties to tell all the stories running around in his imagination. Yeah. That makes sense. I can believe that. Because I really felt like the Clone Wars needed to be big and epic, and 3 movies. Actually, it was really only 2 movies, because that first movie was just...
It was...
prologue.
Background. It was prologue, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Couldn't get through the 2008 Clone Wars. The micro series was really good. I heard that, and I have some...
The Clone Wars 2003, they've been slowly but surely kind of taking it off of YouTube.
Because it's not really canon anymore, right?
It's not, but it's better than sequel trilogy by like a million miles.
Yeah.
But my dog taking a dump is better than the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I dig it. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Let's see. You know what? I always want to support the artists in the group. Working on a story with my little brother. Really think we're working on something good. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to hear more about it. And of course, Artificer Joni says he's working from an old school notebook. I need to transcribe. Yeah, I mean, I dig it. I used to do all my writing by longhand, but now I've found that if you do it on the computer, you can make multiple backups, and you never have to worry about losing stuff.
The only thing about computers is make a draft, print it, and then look at the printed copy, because it's easier to go, oh, that sucks. Oh, I got to change that.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I just start an entire new file and rewrite it. What I've got, it's in front of me. I rewrite it, but I change things that need to be changed. It's just, and you delete the first one after you're done. And then, because you have the first draft. It's there. Physical.
Another thing I might suggest with that too, if your computer has the ability to read back to you what you've written, you can do that while reading it yourself. You might pick up on things your eyes may miss as well if you can also hear it. Yeah. He's
right on that one too.
Mm-hmm. And David Pensack, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to go ahead and, because I know you're a wrench over on Stephanie's channel, I am going to make you a wrench over here, because...
Yeah, he's good. Good.
I super appreciate all that you do over on Stephanie's channel. So
I've known Dave.
An inside thing for me and Troy. I just checked a certain somebody's channel. I'm still a wrench.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, Agent Boomer knows exactly. Stephanie, that's a black pill that kind of introduced us to the community that blocked me because I dared to say something that disagreed with him in one of his comment sections.
Oh, I wonder who that was. I can't. No, I honestly.
Actually,
don't.
you probably don't even know him. He was he's a certain writing professor who considers himself to be a Bible geek.
You
That's all I'm
told.
gonna say.
You told me about him.
Most of mine and Aged Boomers followers know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think you told me about that once.
But yeah, I don't think he's somebody that you follow. So
Yeah.
Keely Chow, I know you're probably
Keely Chow.
here more for Aged Boomer than for me, but I always appreciate you. I don't know what FNT is, but cool.
Friday night. Right.
I know what that is.
Oh, Friday Night Tights. Right. That's... I'm sorry, guys. That's the Black Pill stream as far as I'm concerned.
I can't. You know, to me, it's just a. To me, I go, that's CNN. You know, under decks,
I know.
right? Below decks, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
You know, just sit around and scream and yell, rant and rave and bitch, and there's nothing of substance to be talked about. It's like, wow, this is. But guess what? Our voices are drowned out by that because there's too many people that watch that.
And I'm going to get to that in a little bit. I really am sick of and I think my channel has become anti-black pill.
Yeah.
Every week I'm talking about how frustrated I am
Yeah.
with these know-nothings that just want to bitch about everything.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean you have to have liked the Book of Boba Fett, Stephen Otten. That's okay if you don't.
Yep.
That's not what I'm talking about. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
The lovely Cherie is in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going fast enough.
Don't worry about it. But
Chris Benavides, that's a new
Hey,
name
Chris.
to me, but boy, I'm super
He's-
glad to see you here.
he's
Super
one of
encouraging to
mine.
me. Yes, you're right. I just caught up. The lovely Sherry. She really is lovely, isn't she? I mean, I see her picture and I'm like, oh, wow, she's so sweet.
so
Hope you're doing well. Let me real quick. Oh, okay, so I am caught up. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead, Aged Boomer.
No,
Sorry.
you didn't say hello to
Oh.
Chris.
I
Did I
just don't
miss-
know how. I just don't know how long we have Stephanie for tonight. Didn't know if you wanted to.
Good point.
Probably another half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
jump into our conversation then, I suppose. So, Stephanie, well, actually, I'm sorry. I do want to let Netter go first. We watched the Book of Boba Fett this week, obviously, because it came out on Wednesday, Tuesday, however you look at it, whatever time zone you're in. And we finally caught up on it. And, Netter, what was your initial reaction to the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett?
I have 3 words. Rancor, Gogru, Little Steel Stick Shift Knob.
Yeah.
Okay, it's more than 3 words.
Literally...
And then, wait, I suppose there's a 4th word.
Yeah, I was looking for that. Yeah. She literally, at like 3 different points in the episode, was like, oh, yee. Guys, any arguments you have against the Book of Boba Fett, that trumps it. I'm sorry. When you see that kind of pure joy from a Star Wars fan, I don't care what black pill you're chewing on, that's pretty damn awesome.
As soon
Yeah.
as I saw that Rancor, I was like, yes, that's it. That's
Yeah.
what we were looking for.
On the one hand, you look at George Lucas, who had specific scenes in all of his original trilogy where you're like, I can see what inspired that. You know, whether it's a Kurosawa or it's an old Western or whatever it is, you're like, I know what he was drawing from. And now I'm seeing people on the YouTubes deriding the clear homage to King Kong that the Rancor did, and it's like, you know what? Go away. Because if you had any intellectual honesty, you would apply that to the original trilogy, and you would say the same to George Lucas.
Yep, they would. And,
You know?
I've got to say this. To me, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't put Han Solo in there for the reason why, because it was just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And But I also have a theory there that when Harrison Ford's name showed up on IMDb, someone was dangling a shiny object at somebody.
Yep.
And here's what I think the shiny object was. Not necessarily at the fans. The Monday and Tuesday before the show premiered, TLJ trended on Twitter. And then you've got the red-haired cat lady posting that blurb
Yes.
about, yeah, it's the same building, the same planet, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I'm like, and R2's the same robot, your point, and everyone's freaking out. I mean, and I got pissed. You know I got mad. I lost my... and then Paulo Hidalgo's like, well, you really shouldn't believe everything you hear, but he really didn't address specifically the rumors that he was gone. Okay? And now today's like, well, I may be in the credits for Kenobi and I may not be. And it's like, because the union.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're still there.
Yeah.
The union. So, but, you know, everybody freaked out about...
You saw my comment about that, right? Because Cameron has talked about this too.
Yeah.
If you are, you know, in a writing group for a show or whatever,
Yeah.
and they choose not to use what you're using, they still have to credit you because you got
Yeah.
paid
Yeah.
for what you provided, even if
Yeah.
they don't like it. So all this crap, every time you hear about reshoots
Yeah.
and stuff being thrown out, those people that wrote whatever's being thrown out are still getting paid,
Yeah.
and they're still showing up in the credits.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, will you remember Kennedy going, "Oh, we have all these great scripts and blah blah blah." Then you find out that they're just exactly like The Mandalorian, and Jon Favreau was like, "No." So her showrunner got fired,
Yep.
and he had the scripts rewritten, and he put Deborah Chow in charge. Okay, so I'm gonna look at Pablo and say, "Well, you were part of the first script writing team. This is why you're getting a credit, right?" Because we all know the backstory, so quit lying. And he'll, you know, it was this week was really.
It's one thing to lie on your CV. It's a different thing to lie to the fans.
Yeah, well, my problem with everything was this. And now that I look at it, it was obvious what they were doing is trying to get our attention away from that episode because they were terrified that Harrison Ford would show up. That's exactly what they were doing.
But Cameron said something that I thought was very poignant. The fact that he didn't was probably a good thing because it was the Book of Boba Fett. Let's focus on that story and not draw away from it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the story group thought he was going to show up, and they know the retcon's coming. They know it.
Yep.
And they're doing everything they can to torpedo Jon Favreau, which, good luck. You might as well try to torpedo John Ford. Okay.
And people don't realize that for all that people have said negatively about the Book of Boba Fett, the toys are selling like friggin' hotcakes.
Oh yeah, they are. People love it. I mean, despite and I'm going to say, because I am a cinephile, it felt off. I know Star Wars well enough to say, and I want to look at I want to look at, Robert Rodriguez and go, Skittles colored scooters on Tatooine. We have to talk, It didn't bother me that much because it was focused on the story. And the story, I know that script was reworked. I know it was a movie script. I know they had to fix it. I know they did.
Yep.
But it was still, it was fine. And the freak out, oh my God. Like today, you know who I'm talking about. It's like an intervention. I know who needs an intervention, and it's not who the object of it.
I said this on a response to Cameron Pasha's Patreon recently. I said, we've all been using this quote, get woke, go broke.
Yeah.
I think a lot of YouTubers need to learn, and it doesn't rhyme, so it may not be as catchy, but lose touch, go broke. I think a lot of YouTubers have lost touch and are just regurgitating this negative mantra that might get people cheering initially and then start to go, oh, this is just exhausting.
I've got too many people asking me what the hell is going on in private. And I'm like going, if people would answer my emails and actually have a conversation, I think this whole thing could like be, like tamped down. Because here's the deal. That blurb showed up. And Nick and Coach freaked out about it. It's like, oh God. I looked at it as like, she doesn't know what's going on. She's part of the story group. She's one of the editors for StarWars.com.
Yeah.
Who built StarWars.com? Pablo Hidalgo built.
And let's face it, these are the same people that all they've been talking about for the past year has been the frickin' High Republic that nobody gives a frack about.
Yeah, and she put that up there to piss people off. It was a troll. Because you saw the picture on the thumbnail on my video, right? It's supposed to be the same temple that got burned down by Muleface. It's not even the same planet. It's not the same. It's like, we have to have a conversation about this. They did that deliberately to get people's attention away because they were afraid that the internet was going to break because Han Solo and Chewbacca showed up. And that's what people were expecting, but when I think about the episode, it wasn't the kind of place unless the Republic garrison called in help. Okay, and then you'd see, a troop transport and then the Falcon land and Solo walking out and going, you're supposed to be dead, looking at Fett. That almost would have worked, but because the way it was just,
actually, what would have been great would have been another homage they could have done. Boba Fett, I thought you were dead. Yeah. Kind of a, reference to Snake Plissken,
Yeah, and it's, but it would have been, but I got to tell you something. For him to show up in something like that, in my opinion, that you could tell the show, they were trying to get away from the kid thing, right? With all the death and everything, but it wasn't dark enough. And I'm going to tell you something. When Valiant, Renegade, and Cameron were talking today, 50% of the people that watch Disney Plus are our age.
Yeah.
Now, they might have their kids with them. But the idea that you have to make everything for kids, it doesn't necessarily ring true. And you don't have to make Star Wars for kids.
I said it when in one of your streams. I quoted Brie Larson and her whole. I don't care what some 40-year-old white guy has to say about something in time. It wasn't made for you.
Yeah.
You say that, and that's fine. Maybe your audience isn't the 40-year-old white guy.
Yeah.
But it's his daughter, maybe his son, and you piss him off. He doesn't bring his kids.
Yeah, and
you lost everything, dude.
Look, we're not talking about somebody who's, my dog is smarter than she is. He's a shepherd, so he's smarter than most people.
True, but this attitude is what I'm referring to, and I'm seeing in these people.
Well, that article I posted on LinkedIn, they actually, I had. I think Pablo Hidalgo's wife, and I didn't save the tweet, and I should have, basically tell me, well, you guys are going to die pretty soon. She's almost my age, by the way. It's like, so are you. Yeah. Probably looking at you probably sooner than I will.
Right?
And this isn't made for you. And I'm like, I'm only 53. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what age. It's like...
Not to change subjects, but this is parallel.
Yeah.
I mention this a lot on a lot of my streams. I mentioned that I follow a Canadian lawyer by the name of David Freitag, who goes by Viva Fry. A lot of you probably know him if you are at all involved in any kind of politics and interest in the law. Yeah. And he has a catchphrase, confession through projection. you know, and
Yeah.
he usually uses it for people like Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
And, you know, he says, you have to understand that if you are standing with the convoy, you're breaking the law. And it's like, says the guy who's breaking all kinds of international law and the Bill of Rights of Canada, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But, you know, projection, confession through projection. But that's exactly what you're talking about when you talk about these people.
Yeah.
They are projecting
Their
and
fear.
yeah.
Well, here's, you know, when they threw out the EU and thought we're going to get a whole new audience, we're going to do all this stuff and bring in the young kids.
Yep.
You know, George Lucas was like, their parents love Star Wars. They will introduce their kids to Star Wars. That's how you do it. Instead, they completely cut the older fans out, and they're failing. They're failing. And, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm 53. My mom died when she was 90. I have another 40 years to go, so fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, and I have the money to buy this stuff.
And
I'm not going to.
this whole idea of jettisoning the old fans in favor of a new fan base that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, where are they?
I remember what got me excited about The Force Awakens, and it wasn't anything that Lucasfilm did. It was a commercial for a battery company.
Yeah.
It was Christmas morning, and the brother gets batteries for his lightsaber.
Yeah.
And you see in his imagination, he's fighting the First Order stormtroopers, and R2 and 3PO send him, your sister's been kidnapped. I got to go save my sister. And his mother says, you're my only hope. You're our only hope. And he goes, and his sister says, what took you so long? And he throws her the lightsaber, and they fight back to back. And I'm like, if this is what Star Wars is going to be, I'm all on board.
Yeah, that's what it should have
That commercial was better than the friggin' movie.
Well, what about the one from Germany where they had the little boy who's got a crush on the little girl across the street, and it goes through all this stuff, and then he's up in his attic, and he's got his 6-inch Han Solo with Leia, and he's got his blaster out there, and the figure is pointing at a stormtrooper outfit. So the little kid dresses in that. He marches over with an invite for Christmas Eve, hands it off to her dad, and leaves. And the next night on Christmas Eve, because that's when Germans do Christmas, there's a knock at the door, and she shows up. She's dressed like Leia, and her fuzzy dog is dressed like Chewbacca. He's got the bandolier.
I remember
And
that one.
it was like, there's a part where they're watching The Empire Strikes Back, and the dad has to cover his eyes when Han kisses Leia, and it was just it's literally, my friend Lee Scott, who used to actually run Asylum Film, was like, I posted it, and then he shared it out on Facebook, and he goes, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah.
It is just, that's what Star Wars is about, and there's nothing wrong with little boys.
Because these people don't only not understand the franchise that they're destroying, they don't understand the audience, and they don't freaking understand humanity.
Well,
they really don't.
Here's the deal. When you've got someone like Claudia Gray, who's into everything but not normal life, not normal romance.
Yeah.
You know, she inserts I brought this up to a gay friend of mine, and he was like, celibate gay man? What the? You know, he just started laughing. He's like, does that even exist? And I'm like, here, I don't even want to hear. I don't want to know anymore. Keep your mouth shut. But
these are details I do not need.
Yeah, well, he's, you know, I told him about this character, Leox Gayasi, and he was like, what the fuck is his name? And he's like, dude, this is Star Wars? He's like, this is not.
These people that try to be inclusive and representative and stuff are so offensive. It's like you'd be better off doing nothing.
Yeah, well, what my opinion about that is, Pablo Hidalgo, I'm going to give you his biography real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in Santiago, Chile, during the Pinochet regime. His parents fled, and you know why.
Yeah.
So they went to Canada, and then he immigrated here to the United States. So
How do you go so wrong in one generation?
oh, he's a red diaper baby. Okay, he came here. He hates the country. He started out as he built StarWars.com. He was a consultant, right? And he wrote a couple comic books. I'm like, he was also an extra in the opera scene. Anakin was there. And he basically asked Kathleen Kennedy for a job in 2012. So when he says, I've been there for 20 years, no, you haven't. You've been there since 2012.
Yeah, you've been a lurker for a bunch of years.
Yeah, you were a consultant for, what, 8? You know, he says, I've been there for 23 years. It's like, no, you haven't. You've been there for 13 or 12, less 10 this year, right?
True.
So he has a huge chip on his shoulder, and he's an activist. His parents, he's a red diaper baby. His parents trained him to hate capitalism. When you look at his bio now on Twitter, he doesn't include his work, but he says, well, you can put anything on here. Okay, you run around saying, I'm proud you are to work for Lucasfilm, but you've got your BLM and Antifa crap on there, but you don't have your work.
Yeah.
You should put your work above your ideology. You know what I'm saying? And
because despite what people believe, companies still pay attention to what's really important because they actually want the work to get done.
Well, here's the deal. When I worked in DC, before I worked for Mr. Army, I worked for a place called the Leadership Institute, which was run by a man named Morton Blackwell, who was President Reagan's youth. He basically organized the youth vote for the Reagan campaign. And he had this long list of rules that you have when you have an organization. And I don't care if it's a political campaign, a congressional office, or a company like Disney and or Lucasfilm. There are a bunch of rules, but the one that stuck out the most, personnel is policy. Yeah. So I'm sorry if you work for Lucasfilm and you're on Twitter and you're treating people like shit, you're calling people racists and misogynists because they don't like the product you're producing. This is what people perceive Lucasfilm to be.
Yeah, if you have a public identity, you represent the company that you work for. Which is why, like Aged Boomer and myself, nobody knows publicly who we work for. We talk about what industries we're in, but we don't say specifically because we want to be able to share our opinions without it being a reflection on us professionally.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal about Pablo. He has been doing this. When Tom was talking about it last week, when we thought he was, he might be gone. He might not be gone. We don't know. He's basically not refuting the rumors. Okay. But here's the deal. They act like this stuff started just like when Star Wars theory. It's like, no. Yeah. This stuff started in 2013 when they dumped the EU. There's a story that, and I believe, and I know it's true because I had somebody who I can't remember tell me he was on. All right. My favorite thing about him is, I'm just a private individual. I don't know why people know who I am. You go on podcasts. You're in a daze with Kathy Kennedy. You're surprised that people know who you are.
It's false humility.
On Twitter. You run around on Twitter like you're like George Lucas himself.
Right.
Give me a break, you narcissist. He told the podcast host and his second, they were dumping the EU, and he was kind of happy about it. The second was like, you can't do that. Because that's how popular it was. And he was really upset about it. The podcast host ended up, that second never got invited back.
Yeah.
because he found out something they weren't supposed to know yet. And there's that Reddit link basically saying that all the leaks that Jason Ward gets are from Pablo. And really a lot of this stuff is their fault. So you've got a guy who works, he's supposed to be a professional, works for this company, who has friends out there who don't, but they're supposed to be fans, attacking fans, basically trying to drive the old fans out, which is what Jason Ward's been doing. It doesn't make a very good chemistry for getting people to want.
And that kind of speaks to why I've had Sweet Victory's comment up here.
Yeah.
It says, can someone explain to me why the Black Pills hate Favreau? Does it have something to do with Carano? It's not like he ever spoke out against her. It has this much to do, I think, with Gina Carano. It definitely has more to do with exactly the things that Stephanie's been talking about here. Yep. Their ideology, the things they're pushing, the things they care about, which absolutely is not the fans, which absolutely is not Star Wars.
Yep.
They are working on a completely different page than you are. And that's what you have to understand. If you try understanding it as someone would expect somebody who is trying to create a profitable product, you won't understand it. But if you understand the ideology behind it, it makes perfect sense.
Well, it's more like, I call them the misery channels. And we know who they are. I'm not going to say it, even though I could mouth the words and you'd understand, because I do it all the time. The big one of the big ones, the owner of that, he's obnoxious. He goes on Twitter. I mean, everybody knows who he is. Started out liking TLJ. And then he discovered, everybody hates it. So now I'm going to hate it too. Okay, so we've got that. So we've got a phony. We've got somebody else. And what's really interesting is they don't talk about substance. You've got one, the red-haired punk. All he does is drop F-bombs, and he's supposed to be their expert on the lore and the EU. And it's like, they don't want Kennedy to go away. They make a lot of money spewing hate and nonsense. Every Friday, when I was screwing around on Twitter one day, on a Friday afternoon, I saw thousands of people in that chat, in the, CNN Below Decks chat, all right, in that, the circle jerk. And I'm like, they don't, if she goes away, if we wake up tomorrow morning and find out Disney announced that they disbanded the story group and Pablo Hidalgo has been formally, it's out there. He's been fired for a long time, but they put it out there. What will they have to talk about? Oh, I know what they'll do. They'll push the goalpost. All right. And the reason why they hate Favreau is because that's the next mark. And they're getting ready to go after him. Look, some of these guys, that's all they have is YouTube to make a living. Think about that. I want you to think about that. If all you do is go on YouTube all day long without a brain and scream and rant and rave, and people pay you money, why would you get a real job? All right? That person I was talking about that decided he hated TLJ too, he didn't have a job. That's all he does is YouTube. It's his company, his brand. And it's like, and they wonder why, Zack Snyder came in and said, I want to make this clear that we don't condone hate speech. They've never been able to combat that because all they do is fight back. They angrily. They've got the narrative. And if Disney took the narrative away, which you take the face of Lucasfilm away, Kennedy and the story group led by Hidalgo, they don't have anything to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing people start to question them, and they're coming to me saying, even tonight with our friend who's doing his show right now, going, I can't do this. What the hell is going on? Because all right, I understand. Tuesday, I lost my shit. The next morning, I woke up, I watched the show, and I was like, and I got yelled at by a few people. And I'm like going, okay, I wasn't wrong with what I said. It's how I did it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go after, like, I didn't make, it's really funny. You cannot make demands the way they're being made right now, okay? The sequel trilogy, like saying if he chooses the armor, the sequel trilogy is happening. It's like you're pinning Favreau and Filoni in a hole. They're creatives. They can't be put in a hole. Okay. I'm working on a scene right now for my story, and it goes wherever I want it. I mean, literally, I just write it and go, oh, we could do that. That's how I write. I don't map it out. You can't put somebody who's a writer in a hole like that, and you can't move, you can't deviate. It's not going to work. And that's first. Second of all, it's not profitable to go to the sequel trilogy. Now people are like, well, they'll make money and it'll be the end, and it's like, and they'll lose fans because fans will start to realize what's going on. And I'm sorry, people that have the money that are our age have long memories. The millennials who like it are already on to something else. They're past it now. They don't care. Okay. But you can't convince people when they're dead set on this. And, Cameron's like, as a writer, he's like, I don't know what to tell people. I really don't know.
Real quick, I need to interject real quick. Age of Boomer, can you, just so that you're informed, check out the private chat. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, but you should be aware of it. And I was curious, Stephanie, if you wanted to. I thought that just some other guy made a great comment here. The parallel is interesting, and I never thought of it before. My personal take on it is he's right, but I would also point out that just like the analogy, World War II World War I was far more intricate than that. People blame it as the powder keg, but it was bound to happen eventually. And you could say the same about Gina Carano.
Well, all right, I'm going to say my piece about her, and then I'm going to go. I think she knew for a long time that she wasn't coming back, and I think they were trying to keep her. They were trying to protect her, but I think she knew, and I don't think she wanted to come back. I mean, people say, well, she didn't want to come back. Like, working and making $1 million an episode is such a bad thing, and being part of Star Wars is just awful. But when you look at the people saying that, they're hateful. They don't think they're hateful, but there's a reason why. Money, okay? The more hate they spew, the more money they get from fans that they agitate. And when it happened, she immediately had an interview with Ben Shapiro, who, as somebody who I did one piece for Breitbart.com. I've got a lot of friends, Dana Lash, Gary Graham, who played a Vulcan, Nick Searcy, who's actually in the movie with Gina, Mike Flynn, before God bless his soul, was a good friend of mine. All these guys, and my friend Lee, whom I've talked a lot about,
right,
hates Ben Shapiro, hates him, and the reason why is like he's a little pussy. He goes to colleges and he beats up on college students. Wow. He's not really in the real world, actually having to deal with shit on a regular basis. And I agree with Lee. All right. I agree with him on that. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I was like, what is she doing? You what you do is you go and you talk to Mel Gibson about what to do when you get into trouble like that.
Yeah.
He's very successful now. You don't put yourself in the conservative ghetto, okay?
Yeah.
Which is what she's done. But she knew she wasn't going to come back. And my problem is this. If the end of filming Mando season 2 ended and it was a real success, and Jon Favreau said, we're making a show and we're making it around you.
Mm-hmm.
Your character's really popular. The fans really like you. We want to do this, and it's going to really tie in to the bigger picture of what we're doing. You go, oh my God.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you have a responsibility. You don't say no. You don't go on Twitter and be an asshole.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't make
we need
yourself
to be
a target.
intellectually honest. If we're going to say that the Wokosos need to shut up and act, we need to say the same thing about people that we agree with.
Yeah.
It's just being professional.
Well, here's the deal. You don't make yourself a target, and she was a target since last summer, a year ago, last summer. And she wouldn't stop, wouldn't stop. And it's like, it never occurred to her that she had responsibility to those two guys. To
all the people that don't get to be on the show now because it's not happening.
And the fans, they all blame Disney. It's like, look, if she had kept her mouth shut, fine, there's a double standard. I agree with that. What happened to her was wrong. However, if she had not been on Twitter at all, does Harrison Ford go on Twitter? No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that a lot of conservatives, people that I would generally agree with, were coming out and saying, well, if they do this to her, they should do it to, what's his name? The Mandalorian.
Pedro.
I almost said Pablo too. But the fact is, but it's, you know what? Actually, yes, they should do it to Pablo too. But no, they shouldn't do it to any of them. But what they should do is take them out to the shed and go, look.
Yeah.
You need to stop. You need to be professional. Get the hell off of Twitter. The only things that you say on social media are things that hype up your shows, hype up Disney, and you shut the hell up about politics.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, there's the door.
Well, and it does seem like that's the kind of thing we're seeing from the new regime.
Yeah. It's very sad what happened
Right.
to
Pedro
her.
Pascal. Thank you, Artificer Joni.
Yeah, it's very sad what happened to her. But I look at her and go, I'm sorry. But if I had been you, given that opportunity, I'd have deleted my Twitter account and told, I'm sorry, Jay, I can't talk to you anymore. I'm not, I'm sorry, getting yourself, if you're somebody like her, Gerard Butler's done this, getting themselves involved with fans is a very bad thing. Mm-hmm. I saw it firsthand with him. I saw it firsthand with Yohan Griffith, the president of his fan club, when she found out that he was engaged, has just lost her. And it was bad. When I was working on the websites for Butler, we discovered that the person who was supposed to be like the coordinator and the boss was saying things behind his back and putting stuff out there that he didn't want out there, and then pretending that, if you just seen this woman, my dog wouldn't sleep with her. She had to weigh 300 pounds. But she's putting shit out like that too, and it's like, you know what? So yours truly, being the loyal, ever loyal worker, and sent a letter to his manager, and all hell broke loose. But guess what? Nobody was happy.
Yeah.
He cut ties with everybody, and that was the only thing. And it's like, you know what? Now you know. Don't hang out with the fans. Exactly. We love you, but there's got to be a distance, okay? And the whole thing with YouTube, and that's fine. They're friends. They're friends till suddenly she's making $20 million a year, and can't be bothered. Okay, which is going to happen.
Yeah,
that is going to happen with this. No one's going to be happy, and I'm going to be going, I told you. And again, doing what she did, knowing that a lot was riding on her, is so disrespectful and so disloyal.
Yeah.
and she had no idea.
Well, and you've said this many times, and the more
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear him.
Troy went quiet. Troy, you went quiet. Can you
I
hear
can't
me?
hear you.
Troy?
Troy.
I'll see if I can address him in YouTube. Maybe Netter can hear me too. Hold on.
Okay.
Actually, I'll try the private chat. Hold on.
All right. I can't hear anybody, so I'm just gonna look through.
Can you hear me?
okay, is that
Okay.
better?
Yeah.
Netter got up and she unplugged my mic. This is what happens when your blue wrench has had too much blue milk.
Oh boy.
Oh, sorry.
So what were you gonna say?
Jedi Padawan Trela said they should say the same to Mark as well. I will, although I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that most of the crap that he's been putting out, he was putting out when he was not under contract.
Yeah.
Right? He was in the same position that George Takei was, where he's not working and didn't care. You know?
Yeah. Mark, like I always like to say, cool people don't go on Twitter. Harrison Ford is not on Twitter.
You're right.
And John Favreau has Twitter, he doesn't use it. Dave Filoni has Twitter, he doesn't use it.
Yep.
But I guarantee you they have people monitoring it.
Right.
And now Pablo,
Which is what I thought their social media person was supposed to be doing. Apparently not.
well, I think it's the fact that Pablo has a public account and is saying and is indirectly passive aggressively not only attacking fans but mocking Dave Filoni now.
Yeah.
If you look at that subtext, he can't be there. But he's got SAG-AFTRA in his bio, and it's like he could be holding them hostage with the union crap, because when he was the extra in Revenge of the Sith, he immediately became a union member.
Well, and this is why I say when people say, well, look, Kathleen Kennedy's name is on this, therefore she's in charge. No, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Well,
that's just a contractual obligation. She's getting paid for something. She under the union rules, she's got to be on there. She may not have had anything to do at all with the show, for all you know.
All right, I'm going to give you guys some news. I'm going to explain this. She's an executive producer. She's not creatively or monetarily in charge, like running the production.
Right.
She's not. Executive producer, like Steven Spielberg with Indy 5, gets money, and it's a courtesy from the fact that the Producers Guild of America, that they have to be put up there.
Yep.
Okay, that's why. Pablo today was maybe I'm in the credits for Kenobi, maybe I'm not. And I'm like, because it's a union courtesy.
Well, Cameron made an excellent point. He said sometimes when you see on IMDb or in the credits of a movie, you see screenplay written by this person, and this person.
Yeah.
One of those people may have written a screen treatment that they paid for and decided not to use, but they are obligated to include that person in the credits because they paid them for it.
Yeah, and he's running around acting like he's, Larry Kasdan, and it's like, what? I mean, I can't.
Even Larry Kasdan's son isn't Larry Kasdan.
It's like, so I'm like going, this is, and Six sent it to Tom. I know she did, and I'm like, this is not anything to freak out about. Yes, he's intimating that he's got a credit. It's
but Tom took it and ran with it, didn't he?
I don't know. I quit listening. I went live.
You too, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
I quit.
I did not mean by my venting to you. I didn't mean to influence you.
No,
but
you didn't. You didn't. I just, when they start talking about Marvel, if it's not a juicy business politics.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it because I don't care.
You don't care about, yeah.
I don't care. When the black pill starts, I just turn it off. I think, eventually they're going to figure it out. They're going to stop doing this stuff. But it's going to be a hard lesson.
Yeah.
All right. Because like I said, one of these days we're going to wake up and Kathleen Kennedy is going to announce her resignation, and it's coming sooner than we think. Look, somebody who is in the movie business in London, just got back there, had lunch with his buddies. No Acolyte's being filmed. The second season of Andor is being filmed. And it doesn't look like Acolyte is happening.
So we actually are getting Andor?
Yeah, Andor's the first season's already done. I mean, it
seems so unnecessary.
Premiere. I like the Imperial period. I think it's fun to watch.
I do too, but when you're following a character, you know how he ends.
Yeah, and here's the deal. That's the thing about following the ST. If you know how it ends, why do you care?
Right.
Which is why they have to change it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's another good point I hadn't considered. Very good.
But nothing about the Acolyte. Nothing. I mean, it's not. It's. I looked on IMDb Pro. Nothing's changed, and with the announcement that they canceled, literally, I think the show was done. That Beauty and the Beast prequel, or sequel, or whatever that was, I'm shocked. That is the first.
You read Cameron's treatment on that, right?
Yeah,
in his Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked, and that is the first of many.
I sent that one to you, Boomer. I'll share on Sunday about that.
Thank you. It was that thing was done, and they're like, no, we're not going to put it out because I'm sure Bob Chapek was like,
yep.
And Susan Arnold, who's a lesbian, was like,
yep.
There's something about people of that ilk who don't make it all about them.
This is what people fail to understand, these social justice warriors, that diverse people of color, people of the alphabet community are in all strata of life.
Yeah.
And they like to make money too.
Yeah. And they don't want a spectacle to be made. I mean, a celibate gay man.
Good point, David. You're right. You're right. He could just be a vehicle for the story around him.
I mean, he may not be, which, but and Indy 5 was going to wrap last month. It was supposed to wrap then in the middle of the month. It's not going to wrap until the end of this month. And I've been talking to another one of my subs who knows Anthony Ingruber. Which he's probably going to be young Indy. They're gonna yeah.
Are they even going to bother with CGing his face?
Yeah, it just
because the reason I asked that is because I saw the I don't know if you want to call him body double or whatever that played Luke in the 6th episode of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
he looked so spot on. Yeah. I'm like, why do they even have to F around with CG on this guy?
Here's the deal. If you recast that character, even Anthony Ingruber has people say, he doesn't look like him. It's like...
Okay, then what you do, you go ahead and you do the CG, make him look spot on, and then with each subsequent appearance, you just... let it up until your mind's eye doesn't even realize.
Well, here's the deal. When people say stuff like that, it's like, it tells me, instead of hiring an actor, just do deep fake and say, fuck you fans. I don't, Well,
and it's not only that, but I mean, hell, you and I are pretty close to the same age. Have you ever looked back at your high school yearbook?
Yeah.
And said, that doesn't even look like me. This is the way it is, people.
Here's the deal. If you took Anthony Ingruber, I have a picture of Harrison Ford, his son, Ben, his grandson, one of his grandsons whom he's holding, and Ben's older son. And if you put Ingruber in that group, you would think he was a Ford. You would think he was his son.
You know what? Matanui's right. He says people are going to lose their shit either way. You recast, he doesn't look like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
You deep fake, you bitch about the CG. They're gonna bitch no matter what.
Here's the thing. The thing about it is they tried to recast the character with awful Aaron Yuck. I can't. I was like,
Look, I could have forgiven him if he was a good actor. He's not.
no, and he was literally the wrong.
Look at River Phoenix. Remember when River Phoenix did Young Indy? And I was like, he doesn't look anything like Indy, but he's doing a pretty good job. I could buy this.
You know, he actually, it's really funny, but Harrison Ford said that he looked like him when he was a kid.
Maybe.
And I'm looking at pictures, and I'm like very young, and I'm like, I can see it and I don't, but I'm not him, so maybe I'm not seeing what he sees.
Yeah.
But it's just, we've got a problem right now.
Yes, we do.
In the fan community. And it's the black pills. Our friend on the show right now lost his shit.
I still have not listened to his open letter. I honestly don't care.
I listened to about 3 minutes of it, and I'm like, oh God, you gotta let it go. You're wrong. You're wrong. You just stop it. I sent him like 2 or 3 emails, and I don't get any emails back. It's like you get emails from him suddenly, boom, 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 boom. You know,
this is the way this community works. I mean, I just sent Aged Boomer back to look at the private chats because we got somebody in the fandom here who's running over to another YouTuber bitching about us because we're talking about them, and it's like, you know what? If that's the way you're going to be, don't come back. Okay, I don't have any time and stomach for this crap.
And what
Yeah,
is that I'm not even talking about him. You are, but she's lumping me and saying that I'm saying things about that.
It doesn't matter because it's all a bunch of crap,
Well, here's, but you know what? Here's the deal. If you're going to be running around thinking the sky's falling when it's not, and saying it is, and people are going, hey, but the sky's not falling, stop it, and they're the bad guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to say the sky's not falling. You're an idiot. Stop it. Okay?
Yep.
And I don't like seeing my friends in pain like this for no reason. All right, which is why I lost my shit on Tuesday.
And I think this is what it comes down to. It's people like you and me, and I take this Klingon shit really super serious. I mean, actually, this is probably the thing that I responded to the best about that last episode of Book of Boba Fett. When he's like, yeah, I'm prepared to die for this because it's a matter of honor.
Yeah.
And it's like, I will walk away from YouTube for a friend. I don't care. None of this means anything to me. I will give up anything for a friend. But if you don't have my back like that, then you're not my friend.
Yeah, I've got people that have come to me that they don't have anywhere to go. So I feel like I have a responsibility to stay. But
Officer and a gentleman, I have nowhere to go.
I've got, no, they don't. I mean, they're like you and Cameron and Valiant. I mean, that's who they mentioned are the only people who actually know what you're talking about. And you're the only rational people out there. It's like, I told my husband, I go, I'd like to shut down my channel sometimes. And right now I want to because I'm so sick of the bullshit. But I can't because there are too many people that are depending on a safe place in the storm. And I hate using that. But YouTube has gotten the community has gotten to be such a mess. A viral plague of hate, negativity, and anger. And when you've got somebody like our friend putting out a rumor, saying it's a rumor, and you've got some other guy mocking him, and a friend of his.
And you immediately come to his defense because he's your friend.
Yeah, but that's the community. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to have to say, well, that's not what I heard. If you disagree with somebody, somebody will tell you, well, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, how do you have a conversation anymore? And how does a fandom survive with this? I don't. It's time for these people who are maliciously attacking other people for saying, but it's a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. Oh, did you hear this? Blah blah blah. He's wrong, and it's like, he said it was a rumor, you moron.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but there you go.
I get you.
It's like, but it's killing the fandom. Then
But-
you got, I have somebody who actually insisted and did a video with my video of me, and she was demanding I show up on her channel so she could basically beat the shit out of me not too long ago. And I'm like,
I never demand anybody. I mean, the fact that you're here when you have so many followers, I just think it's like having internet royalty on my channel. So
Thank you. We'll have a conversation about who that was. You'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Probably, yeah.
And it's like, I don't have time to talk to someone who's so far beneath me and do that to myself. I'm not, again, Gina Carano being beaten up by a bunch of people on Zoom.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that would have been.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to befoul my day by hanging out with someone who's always been a hateful troll. Always. You can't have a disagreement with her or any of these people. And it's like, you can't have a conversation, a logical, intellectual conversation. And what I love about it is these other YouTubers who are nice invite people like that on their YouTube channel. They don't invite us.
Yep.
And it's like, because what? You're afraid we're going to say something you don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's what it comes down to. Instead of being genuine, it's about protecting your brand, which is exactly why
and the money flow. And
I get it.
And I'm
and
sorry.
if that's what you're about, you lose all points with me as far as genuineness and believability.
This is my take. If you can't watch our friend tonight and have fun and just be entertained, if you can't listen to the discussion the discussions he has on Sunday nights, because they're very good. I mean, Cameron and Mike and everybody else show up, and you have to say, I mean, I love when these people run around saying Cameron's a charlatan and everything. It's like, he's not. I don't know why you're here, why you're saying that, but
What's funny is I can see people, bitching about Doomy when he says it's a rumor and it turns out not to be true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Kamran, honestly, I can't think of a single instance where he's been wrong.
Well, he's very good at reading between the lines and reading the politics. And like when that Atlantic article showed up, I sent it to him first.
Yep.
And I said, Kennedy's done. He read it and was like, yes, she is. She's done. That's it. That was the signal. But because her name is still there, A, B, and C are like, she's never going away. My favorite is, Kathleen Kennedy's the most powerful woman in Hollywood. Tell that to Susan Arnold. Tell that to her now. She's the most powerful woman in Hollywood, not Kathleen Kennedy. All right? That's who the boss is, not her. Okay?
Yeah.
And from what Doomcock has heard and from what I've heard from other sources, the board wants Kennedy gone. Okay? Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Doomy's wrong. But I don't think so. I mean,
No.
right now Disney's riding high, and like I said, if they go public and
anyone
Can
who even without contacts inside the industry, anyone who like Valiant Renegade, for example, who just knows business and reads the tea leaves of the trades and business and so forth, is going to tell you she's bad for business.
yeah,
People that care about business do not want her there.
yeah,
The only possible reason she could be there is contractual.
yeah, yeah,
So they're going to minimize her as much as possible.
yeah. Well, you know,
And this is not open for debate and negotiation. This
No,
is
it's not.
just the way the world works. Just
It
as
is.
sure as an apple will fall on your head if dropped from a tree.
yeah, it's very obvious to me when I read that article and all the stuff that came out after Gina that Kennedy was on her way out, that they wanted her gone. And the moment Iger finally was gone, and then it's like, boom, you know. And the same thing with Hidalgo. I'm thinking he was dropped from Lucasfilm and he may just be consulting now. That's the only thing I can think of, you know. But Kennedy is not in London, where they're filming Indy 5. She's probably in California. Her husband, who should also be in London filming Indy 5. Frank Marshall, who's a great guy. I love him. I think he's a great, wonderful person. He's in Malibu. Okay. So you can make of that what you want. But-
It's just like that little meme that I did for you. Where's Kathy? She ain't on this beach because she wouldn't be found with the plebs.
Yeah, she's Disney has her on ice somewhere, and she's not. I mean, it's very interesting to me seeing how this plays out. But I think, and I'm probably wrong, and then I got to go. But I really honestly think that she's gonna announce her resignation sooner rather than later, and I don't think
I agree.
Indy 5 has anything to do with it. I think that the board is like, okay, this bitch has got to go. Okay, and I'm going to tell you something. If what I'm seeing is what it is, Chapek already has somebody set up to go to take over.
Yes,
Lucasfilm.
I'm sure he does.
And I mean, they've already got somebody set up. So
I'll tell you what, though. My prediction is it's not going to be Favreau. I do think Favreau he's their story guy, not their manager guy.
I would think, you could run the company if you've got that Mohsen Gupta doing the day-to-day admin stuff. And that would leave Favreau to do the other stuff, the Lucas kind of stuff. So, but I don't think so because apparently he's got this bigger job.
Yeah.
Which bothers me because I don't think they should be stretching him so thin. I think that he should be concentrating just on Star Wars and giving advice for Marvel, but he should not be doing both.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
I dig it.
I gotta go. And if anybody was mad about us talking about this,
No, honestly, that's why I brought you on, because hearing you throughout the week, you had such great insights that I wanted you to share with my listeners. And well, you also ended up bringing a lot of your listeners too, which isn't a bad thing.
My thing is this, okay? It's going to be a long haul, even when she's gone. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no reason to keep the ST around. They're going to put it in an alternate universe, and the fans can just beat off to it in their own little corner. All 5 of them. The thing,
You say that in a joking way, but I happen to know, and I wish I didn't. There is no brain bleach, but there's stories out there that fans have done that I don't really want to know about.
I have a collection. That I used in a video about Raylo art.
Oh.
And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you?"
Raylo art.
Yes, Ray Lamart. It's God Almighty.
Okay,
but
and you
this
know
is-
what? If you happen to have been listening and kind of lurking, there's no way I would know that. But the fact is, I appreciate everybody who comes and listens and comments and interacts.
I do too.
Because you know what? It really is community. And that has been so difficult to enjoy lately, you know?
Yeah, it has because again, we're not allowed to like the Book of Boba Fett. We're not allowed to say Kathy's probably on her way out the door.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to have any opinions that are contrary. And if we do, we're crazy.
Well, hey, I'm not saying I'm not crazy. I'm just saying this isn't the reason.
Me too. It's not the reason. I mean, I'm like going, and I really do got to go. But this is one of those things that, again, that I said in the article, you saw what I wrote, that if Disney did it publicly, it would take the narrative away and the fans would have their voice back. Because then those big channels would not have the ability to tell people, no, she's staying, no, she's here, blah, blah, blah. No, she's done.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to do. But anyway, I got to go. You guys have a good night. And Steven, I'm sorry.
No. I warned him up front. You were going first. He's up next.
Okay.
And Stephanie, thank you so much
You're
for once again blessing my channel. I really do feel blessed when you do come and hang out with me. Take care. Feel great. Get a good night rest.
Yep.
Give Kojak a little scratch behind the ear for me and
will.
Netter. And
you should have seen. I'll let you go with this one. My horse was so dirty today, and her hooves are so muddy, and I had to, you got to clean them. And I took a shower this morning, and I had to come back and take another one. It was just, oh God. And she was like, "What?" I'm like, "You're half pig. Quit wallowing in the mud." And she's like, "But I love it." She had it on her face. All right, I'll leave you guys. How does
you would think she'd get itchy after that dries, don't you?
They love it. They do.
Okay.
They love it. Anyway, I'll let you guys go, and you have a good night. And if someone, night netter, if someone comes up and says anything, like I was being mean or talking behind somebody's back, it's like they have every right. Can get.
Honestly, I feel if we're doing it on the YouTube, it's not behind anyone's back. We're saying it to the world. They perfectly are capable of hearing it.
They can get my contact email, and we can have a chat.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
I dig
I'll
it.
talk to you guys later.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.
So I do want to reiterate, Stephen, that we've kind of been talking up the Book of Boba Fett and our love for it, but I do want to be very, very clear. You don't have to like it, okay,
yes,
to dodge the bullet of being called a black pill, okay? If you have an honest opinion because let's face it, even Stephanie said it. It wasn't perfect. There were a lot of shortcomings that we agree with. Just so long as you're not going out of your way to hate it just for hate's sake. And I don't believe that to be true of you, which is exactly why I wanted to get you on here to hear your honest opinion about it.
And to be fair, there have been YouTubers who we like, who Overlord DVD, Doomcock has some issues, and so
that's who Stephanie was talking about. If you didn't pick it up,
oh, maybe I did. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I was distracted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. You and Ned we're fighting a battle behind the screens, and I super appreciate you both for doing it.
No, I mean, Netter's doing the heavy lifting. I was still noticing. But anyway, deleted scenes talk. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, can everybody hear me?
Oh, you're very
quiet.
quiet.
You are a little bit quiet. Let's see if I can't bring you up anymore. What do I got to do? Mic settings. Let's see if I can't bring you up. Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Slightly better. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if it's my microphone or what. All right. Let me kind of preface what I'm about to say.
You're fine, but go ahead.
It's. I will eventually get the Book of Boba Fett, but I want to bring something up first that sort of will explain why I got to the point that I got with Boba Fett.
Okay.
March of last year, I basically got fired from my job because I, to make a long story short, refused to bend the knee.
Oh,
Yeah,
And,
I hear you. I'm kind of fighting that battle. I just happen to have a lot of good resources on my side.
mhm.
and I'm doing okay. I've worked on and off since, but
Mhm.
not had anything steady or full time since. I'm seeing this attitude in general from our politicians out of Hollywood that I find to be extremely hateful. And
I would have said authoritarian, but yes, I think you're right too.
yeah, and so I can understand why certain YouTubers are using some of the terminology that they're using because they're upset. And some of them, I think they don't realize why they're upset. But I get the point. I get how they got there. Let me put it that way. Not necessarily that I always agree, but I understand how they got there.
Yep.
Right.
When Hollywood, in my opinion, right now, is delivering a lot of substandard dreck.
Mhm.
A lot of it is very political, and the politics are always there, but they were always kind of muted. There's a difference between like PC and woke. There's a big difference. It's not the same
Right.
thing.
Right.
Woke,
You're right. I hadn't thought about that before, but you are right. Yes.
the wokeness is far more insidious and far more dangerous. Now, with the pandemic having happened, regardless, and I'm not going to go into who did what and who should have been who. I'm not going to bring up the illness of unknown origin. Let's put it that way. Okay. And I'm not going to go into a whole diatribe about who stood to monetarily gain by that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I would like to ask the chat, whether you're here live or you're listening in the future. I would love your feedback. I would like to know if when you come to my videos and check them out, if you get that little thing at the bottom that says, for more about, the beer bug, click here, or context needed, or any of those kinds of little warnings that YouTube puts on stuff. I'd love to hear about that. I don't see it, so I'd like to know. But yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
I haven't gotten them on your channel, but I've seen it on other channels.
And the same goes on Aged Boomer's channel too, because we get into some stuff on Geeky Geezers too.
Okay. But you were saying about going back to what you were saying, deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to say who this was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was an actor who I used to have a lot of respect for.
Mm.
And this is a person who has actually done some genuine good for people. Throw out the term Flute Trucks Clan.
Wow.
And that
these are the same kind of people that talk about being on the wrong side of history. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Those kind of comments don't age well.
No. But that was my basically fuck you to Hollywood at that point.
I understand.
I'm not sticking up for any of you. If you are going to continue to insult people, and this could have been their finest hour.
Yep.
Hollywood had the chance to come in and bring us all together and entertain us and do the right thing and keep the goddamn mouth shut and just stick to the entertainment portion of it. You can have your politics, but you got to do your job first. They ceased to do their job.
Nope.
And I am not going to stick up for these people any longer when they give us this substandard dreck. This isn't just Kathleen Kennedy. This is a cancer.
Yep.
And it is not just her, and it's not just Disney. It's
what bothers me is that so many people see this as some sort of a role-playing game that they're playing. You know, they're playing at being revolutionary. They're playing at being the outspoken moral authority. And it's like, what you don't understand is that this is incredibly serious. And you need to, just like you should not be giving medical advice if you're not a medical doctor, you should not be giving these kinds of opinions without really understanding them. You know, and just because you're a, how does it that Gary from Nerdrotic puts it, a professional pretender? You know, that doesn't give you any kind of authority. That doesn't make you better or more knowledgeable about this stuff than me. In fact, probably less. Because you all that you know about anything is what you read in a script, which is 99% wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And real quick, because she can't stay, I did want to say hi to someone I love seeing so much. Hi, can't stay, but I wanted to say hello to and show my love. Hi at Troy Pacelli, at Aged Boomer. Hi, Netter. Deleted Scenes. Have a groovy night, all. You have a groovy night, too. Courtney, I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're doing well. My mind, body, and spirit. I really do. Have a great night. If you get the mind to, come back and listen on the rewatch and leave a comment later. But thanks so much for stopping by. Sorry, but yeah, when people stop by, I do want to acknowledge them.
Oh yeah, Courtney's great. I love Courtney. Hello, Courtney.
She's so sweet.
So you were saying Hollywood and the Drek, and them being very nasty politically, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just what you were saying.
Right. Yeah. You know, they think they're going to palm off this substandard, agenda-driven Drek. You will watch this and you will like it. Because if not, you're a nist, or you're a phobe, or you're a misogynist, or something. Mm-hmm. And I am tired of that attitude. You know, now, I don't expect every movie or every TV show to be brilliant. I get it. You know, you're going to get varying degrees of brilliance. You know, for every old Henry or every Doom, you're going to get 8 bad Bruce Willis movies. You know?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. You saw.
And, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we both know. Yeah, there was a special on Red Letter Media. I'll tell you about it later, Troy, about Bruce Willis movies. It's not. What
I haven't
you think.
seen it yet, but it's there. Yeah.
Okay. I will front load this with the fact that I'm a huge Bruce Willis fan. I love.
No, he has. I don't want to get on a tangent. He's made a lot of bad made direct for video movies recently and they're just bad. And
I would argue that if you have not seen, there's 2 things, and one is optional. I would say if you haven't seen Moonlighting, you know, any bit of that long running series, you're missing out on some what made Bruce Willis who he is. And secondly, and most importantly, if you can track it down, because it's hard these days, there was an HBO special called The Return of Bruno. If you have not seen The Return of Bruno, you cannot call yourself a Bruce Willis fan.
Yeah.
And it'll give you a whole new appreciation of Bruce Willis.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Everything from like Tears of the Sun back, That was Bruce Willis. What happened to him since? I don't know, because he's a different guy.
Yeah.
But you were saying though, for every Old Henry, or I mean, I really loved Wrath of Man. I don't know if you caught that one.
Wrath of Man was really good too. Yeah,
Yes.
I
You
agree.
get like 10 pieces of crap. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So,
it's more so than it used to be. Look at the bad movies from the '80s that got bad reviews by Sesame, but they're actually a lot better than the bad movies we get today, or a lot of the
And I do, and I want to throw this out because this seems like a great place to squeeze this in here, and especially Stephen, because we've done an analysis of a very, very weighty film, and we've talked about cinema and so forth. I feel like we are in a generation that has become very lazy about their consumption of media. Whereas if you look at the original Rocky, if you look at The Godfather, if you look at any of the made-for-TV films, they were, for a kid, they were boring. For an adult, they were incredibly dramatic, And I feel like we've lost that ability to recognize when something is good because it's not explosions all the time, What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, and you don't need a bunch of explosions to make a good movie. There are
Right.
no explosions in All the President's Men.
You hear that, Michael Bay?
Okay.
No. There are no explosions in 12 Angry Men.
Right. But that's a damn good film.
Yeah. It is. So to me, it's like you don't need the light show every time.
Yep.
Save the explosions for Die Hard. Like that was great. There's room for both of those things.
I'm with you.
All right. Now, my case in point, because I'm working up to Boba Fett, and I know I'm going all the way around the world, but
That's
I
okay.
needed that preface. In 2017, there was a movie called The Snowman,
Okay.
which was based on a supposedly a best-selling mystery novel.
Joe Nesbo, I believe, wrote the book, right? Yeah.
Right. And it's a book series about this. Alcoholic.
This is why I keep him around. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Harry
Now,
Hole, right?
he did-
That's his name.
Well, it's supposed to be like Hari Hula or something like that.
Okay, yeah, maybe I
The
might get it
actual-
wrong. Sorry. Yeah.
But in the movie they say Harry Hole, and it's just fucking hilarious.
Oh,
Because
funny.
you
They
got-
got it wrong in the movie. They got the okay. That's funny. Okay, sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt.
They use the Americanized. His name is actually Hill. It's supposed to be Hill, but anyway, forget all. That's just one of the many problems with this movie.
You mean like Hank Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, D. Pensack, Michael Fassbender. Yeah, who deserved to be in a far better movie than that piece of crap. But
Yes.
what happened was they didn't shoot 40% of the script.
Mm.
Well,
Now, you're making a murder mystery where everything has to be intricate and tied together, and it has to make sense. It's this stitched together Frankenfilm because they didn't finish it.
Nope.
They
I know the
put
movie you're talking about.
They put a 60% finished movie on the screen. Put Michael Fassbender's name on it. Put Val Kilmer's name on it. Put Martin Scorsese's name on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's complete disaster. Because for whatever reason they didn't finish it. And it's become this It's like there's a fellow that I know who's on YouTube, who's a film critic, and has directed his own movies. And while he was sitting there watching, it's like he forgot how movies worked.
Yep.
Because that's just how confused it is watching it. Now,
real quick though, I did want to mention I just dropped a link to. It's free on YouTube. If you want a good noir, black and white murder mystery, Trouble Is My Business, Tom Conkle. Absolutely. I own it on both DVD and Blu-ray because I want to support a great creator. Check it out. Netter is also sharing all the links that are currently in the description below. Subscribe to her channel. She's good people. Aged Boomer, he's got some good content. He's got a good co-host on Sundays. I'd kind of recommend him. But Stephanie Janiczek's down there too. And I will have Stephen Otten's channel if he ever starts putting out some content.
But right now he's on with Bud Boy though, right? I think
my tongue is blue. Look at this.
Yes. Anyway, yes. But yeah, you can check out him. Well, actually, I'll let you speak to that deleted scenes. But
yes, I do host. I am the co-host of Saturday Serial along with Matt Allen on his channel, Bud Boy Productions, and I am going to be hosting the show solo tomorrow morning
because he's traveling, isn't he?
Traveling, yes. He's crossing the pond and. Yeah, he's going to be. We're going to teach him how to be an American here for a few months.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
you know we had a couple chats over here. You can find them in my old videos, where it was we called it a transcontinental special, and we talked about some differences between the UK and the US, and he's already aware of most of them, so he should be okay. He's got a good guide when he gets over here too. So I just dropped his channel too, so you can follow him, and you can support Stephen Otten when he's flying solo this week.
So anyway, deleted scenes. They put Snowman on the screen, attached Scorsese and Fassbender to it, and Val Kilmer was in it too as well.
Sort of,
with an overdubbed voice that sounded nothing like him, and it's anyway, but. There were other reasons for that, but go ahead, though, you were saying.
Well, anyway, why I bring up the Snowman is because I was thinking about that a lot when I saw the final 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Now, let me start this off by saying I didn't entirely hate it. I'm not black pilling Book of Boba Fett. I think there are parts of it that work. The whole sequence episodes really, where he's with the Tusken tribe. That's essentially a man called Horse putting Star Wars.
Yeah, if Stephanie was still here, she'd be all over that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a great story. I'm like, why didn't they just stay with that? Number one, this needed to be a movie.
Yeah, and it was originally meant to be.
And that's the way it should have stayed.
Yep. Thank you again, Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
All right. Now, they stitched together this sort of Franken series.
Kinda, you're right.
They've taken a movie that should have been maybe 2.5 hours, told this really focused, ultimately kind of hard-hitting story about Boba Fett that really would have been great. This man who doesn't have a family, doesn't have a country, so to speak.
Yep.
He's literally left behind for dead. He claws his way out of hell. He meets this tribe, becomes one of them. They're killed indirectly because of something he does. There's a lot that you can do with that. And I thought, what is everybody talking about? This is outstanding. This is great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they forgot about it. Halfway through, nah. Let's do Mando season 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just real quick, I want to interject. So far, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm really not. I'll address what I think are the whys of it, but you're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you yet. You came in here thinking that you were going to be the negative Nelly, but you're good. Keep going.
Okay. Now, I can see, like I said, I can see that working as a movie. The first half of the movie would be everything with the tribe. And then you can have him going into Maz Espa, finding out the pipes are involved, and he did it, and they did it, and, it can be this sort of John Wick revenge thing, where he reverts back to being the way he was before the Sarlacc. And he becomes this badass, cold-blooded killer that everybody keeps telling me that he is.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that for a second, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
You said exactly this badass killer that everyone said he is.
Mm-hmm.
You're basing that on what everyone has said. So it might be this next question might be a little unfair, but why do you think people are saying that? And that's a genuine question because I sure as hell don't know. What are they drawing from?
I don't get it either because in the original trilogy, and I've said this before. You've heard me say this. In the original trilogy, he's a guy who's added in 1997 into the original film.
Yep.
He shows up in Empire.
Yes.
After Han has already been frozen, and he takes Han to Jabba.
Yep.
And we get the this time no disintegrations line.
Yep.
From Vader, which supposedly is supposed to explain that Boba Fett is this badass. Okay, excuse me, Mr. Dark Lord of the fucking Sith. You killed children. What are you worried about if anybody disintegrated?
Let me put this into perspective for everybody, since I'm the old fart that was around when this first came out and had my opinion from the beginning. When you had no idea who Boba Fett was and you have no idea what the backstory is, all you know is Darth Vader saying, looking at him, no disintegrations. That means he's got a reputation for disintegrating, which I always took. And keep in mind, I was a kid at the time. But I still interpreted that as if you disintegrate your mark, you have no proof you actually finished the job. So for all we know, he's been out there cheating people and not actually doing the work.
Well, perhaps that's. I took it as he needs Han and Leia and the rest of the crew alive to lure Luke Skywalker.
Well, okay, that might be true, but
that's what it is.
But
it's more like I don't think he's afraid that Boba's going. I think he's just like, don't botch this up because I've worked with you before.
They're not mutually exclusive, right?
Okay,
Vader does need them alive, or need them. Well, actually, he needs them for another purpose. But yes, he needs them not disintegrated. That's the first thing.
Luke there. That's what he was trying to do.
And exactly. And secondly, he knows.
The first rule of bounty hunting: don't disintegrate.
Well, maybe. And the second one is.
I always liked that line, though.
Yeah, and the second point is, it does me no good. First, it doesn't mean no good for you to disintegrate him. I need him alive. And secondly, I'm not going to believe you did the job if you disintegrate or tell me you disintegrated, which I do feel this was addressed twice in the Mandalorian. Well, once in the Mandalorian, once in the Book of Boba Fett. Mandalorian has that same gun that we see Boba Fett use in the holiday special. And when we actually see it fire and he shoots a Jawa, he disintegrates. So we have to assume that back when Boba Fett had a gun like that, that's what that gun did. Secondly, when we saw Mando in episode 5, he brings in a bounty by chopping off. He killed the guy, but he brings in his head. He didn't disintegrate him. He brought in proof. Here's your bounty. You said dead or alive. Clearly he's dead. Here's his head. You know? So, anyway, just wanted to speak to that one point. That doesn't make him a badass. That makes him, he did nothing. Vader did all the work. And he got Han Solo handed to him gift wrapped. That's not badass.
No.
Okay.
Now, maybe they're getting that from the EU, but the problem is the current administration, or possibly the soon-to-be leaving administration at Lucasfilm, threw out the EU. You know what? The EU doesn't count anymore. The Clone Wars series, it doesn't count anymore. Okay. Well, great, wonderful. But the point is now you're taking away all of these potential story paths that you could have taken. And the reason why I don't blame Jon Favreau for any of this, the way some people might, is he's in a box. There's... What can he do without the studio interfering? He has true. He's between a rock and a hard place because he has to impress a broken fandom.
Yep.
He has to deal with these studio heads who think they're running for fucking political office. You know, he's got to placate all what whatever the actors might want to change. You know, it's like, how do you do a show? I mean, now I'm hacking on the show and I'm not recommending it, but.
Are you? I should have asked this earlier in the stream, Stephen. Are you a follower of Cameron Pasha on his Patreon?
I am. I have not. I have not read what he wrote today, though. So
No. It wasn't what he wrote today, but he's talked about on Valiant Renegade stream, but he's written in his commentaries some things very similar to what you've said. This whole thing about how difficult it is to be a showrunner and how you have a plan for your story, but then there's 20 people above you that have their opinion, and then 20 people over them and 20 people over them. That's kind of how the studio system works. He got ripped apart for his portrayal of Muslim people in some project he was working on, and the Muslim community was ripping into him about it. And he goes, "You have no idea how bad it would have been if I hadn't been in there doing the best I could."
Interesting.
You know,
he was probably talking about Splinter Cell
or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's real quick. Zach says hi to you, Stephen, and he says hi to me too. Zach, thanks so much. You've gotten to be a regular that I love seeing. You always have so many great things to contribute, and for crying out loud, Zelfeld, you may have been a lurker for a while, and you may be new to commenting, but you've had some really great comments tonight. I super appreciate you being here. But we keep interrupting you, Stephen, because we do want to keep the chat engaged. But
right.
I'm loving what you're saying so far.
All right, where was I?
Well, you were now starting to pivot into Book of Boba Fett and how you
You're saying
realize
you don't blame Favreau. You said you're not
Yeah.
blaming Favreau.
No.
You're saying he's in a
No.
box.
Because,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, and Stephanie was. I agree with Stephanie on this point for sure. Is that you can't keep a creative in a box,
Mhm.
and that's what they're doing to Favreau right now. And for whatever reason, they stopped this Boba Fett story, and they decided to throw in season 3 of The Mandalorian, which now has its own problems because now you're taking scenes directly out of Lone Wolf and Cub, and Grogu makes the wrong decision because by making the decision that he makes, oh, congratulations, you just deleted everything that the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian worked up to. What's the point? What's the point of
Wait a
having?
minute. Go ahead. You were going to explain because I'm not
Yeah.
following you.
What's the point of going all that way to have this sort of teary goodbye to bring Grogu to Luke, just to what's essentially 1 episode later just say, oh no, we're not going to do that now. We're going to reset everything back to 0. Well, then what was the point?
I can kind of answer that. For one thing, it directly parallels Empire Strikes Back, right? His heart's not in it. His heart is with his friends, right? That plays very well into not only The Mandalorian, but very much this season of the Book of Boba Fett. It's all about family, clan, honor, responsibility, and duty, right? And Grogu does the exact same thing that Luke did in Empire Strikes Back. He's my friend. I got to go help him. And it does seem like, and this is where I will give a lot of the fans credit, I agree with them on this. I gave the writers the benefit of the doubt that this isn't what was happening, but it does appear to be what Luke is doing. He's making the same mistake Yoda did. Except instead of saying, you shouldn't do this, you should do this, he's giving him the choice. You either stay here or you go. And, that really plays into that whole, only the Sith deals in absolutes, right? Mm-hmm. You've got to understand that the reason we do what we do is because we care about something. We stand up for a cause. We stand up for our friends. We stand by our family. We're willing to give our lives for our convictions, right? If you want to go and do what the old Jedi did, yeah, you can go off to a monastery and sit and meditate and be one with the universe. Congratulations, you've just removed yourself from what's going on in the universe, But you need to have those connections, and there is a middle ground. There is a middle way, and I think that will play out over subsequent series. But in the short term, Grogu is saying, well, wait a minute, you just pointed out that my race is long lived. I'm 50 years old. I'm going to live to be maybe a 900 years old. By that time, everyone I know is going to be dead. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to go be with the people I care about. And then later on, I still have plenty of time to come here and finish my training.
Should these episodes have even happened, though, in the Book of Boba Fett season, though? Wouldn't it be better off having something like this happen in the Mandalorian?
That is an excellent point. I do feel that bringing Grogu back the way they did... Well, I'm going to speak to what Cameron pointed out. Right? Where's the money? The money is Grogu. You want to make money, you bring Grogu in. Okay, you milk him for all he's worth in Boba Fett, and you can put out Grogu action figures with Book of Boba Fett branding, and then you can put them out again for season 3 of The Mandalorian, and then if they do the rumored Luke Skywalker Jedi training facility series they're planning, you can bring him back and he can say, okay, did what I got to do. Now I'm ready to continue my training. Maybe by this point he'll be talking.
Yeah.
I get your mixed feelings, but they got to pay for these shows somehow.
I'm gonna have to bite my tongue. Okay.
Yeah, that that meme of Nathan Fillion from Firefly. That's where we are on that particular story.
They should be able to introduce new characters on Book of Boba Fett that are just as interesting as Grogu, and you want to follow those, not relying on the golden goose, I guess, as it were.
But you have to deal with the fans that are going to say, I don't care about these new people. I don't like these Vespas. I don't like these mods. I only like Grogu. Give me more Grogu.
But wait a minute, though. They would have had to have planned all this out before this show even aired, right?
If all the rumors I've heard are true,
are you saying they got to like episode 4? Shoot, take the 2 episodes from Mandalorian.
No.
We'll retrofit them into.
If the rumors that I've heard are true, those scenes that had no Boba Fett in them, that were all Mandalorian, those were actually scenes intended for episodes 1 and 2 of season 3 of the book of the Mandalorian.
Oh wow!
Because there was a lot of behind-the-scenes scrambling trying to fix the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to comment on this. Big Al says, I'd watch Drash all day long. One thing I'm going to say, those Vespas you don't like and those mods that you don't care for and you don't feel that they're Star Wars, when I say that there's more going on than what you see, keep in mind that Robert Rodriguez is still working behind the scenes trying to get an Alita sequel out. And I'm sorry, as big a Star Wars fan as I am, I'm willing to make some concessions if it gets us an Alita 2. Just saying. So yeah, if Drash becomes a bigger part of the ongoing Star Wars universe, even if it's in like comic books or something, I'm all for that. She was Matanui. I can't remember the actress who plays her. She's the female leader of the mods group.
The Joan Jett.
The good-looking one.
Yeah, the Sophie Thatcher, I think is her name.
Sophie Thatcher, that's her name.
Okay.
American actress, by the way, affecting a British accent, probably for the purpose of appeasing Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
That does seem to be a thing with her, isn't it?
Yup.
Is this season, do you think one of the problems is were we having too many cooks in the kitchen? Was Robert Rodriguez wanting to do one thing? Was Favreau wanting to do another? Was Kathleen Kennedy?
Wait a minute.
I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm not saying
No. I think you're absolutely right, but I do want to defend Robert Rodriguez a little bit.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that he just wanted to squeeze in some elements that just made people think of Alita. That's all.
Okay.
I'm not saying he was trying to change it or do anything. He was just, that's what I think happened. But this is the one project where you literally see the behind-the-scenes civil war going on, where you see Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau locked in it. And I do feel that the show suffered because of it, but I also think that Jon Favreau ultimately won. That's why we got all the things we did. We got a whole episode that involved multiple scenes of Luke Skywalker. We got, the fan service, if you will. We got a lot of EU Easter eggs. Yes, I do feel that the character of Boba Fett did suffer in his own show. That's true. But I will go back to a comment that was made by Skipper Kenner at the beginning of the stream. He made an excellent point. he said regarding the finale of Boba Fett, did you notice they talked about the other families betraying Fett as the smart move? The same way Michael Corleone describes Tessio's move in The Godfather. Yes, I did. I absolutely did notice that. That was clearly your Godfather send-up. I saw an article. One of the actors on Book of Boba Fett is hoping for a season 2. Of course you're going to hope for a season 2 because you like working and making money. If they do continue with Book of Boba Fett, I hope that what they do is they turn it into the Star Wars underworld that we never got. I think that would be brilliant. I think it's very much set up for that kind of a thing. But Stephen, did I cut you off? I mean, I think we're really kind of getting what you're saying about Book of Boba Fett, and I don't think we're disagreeing with you, really.
And yeah, because that's what I wish the story had been.
Yeah.
This sort of you set up this man called horse Godfather mashup.
Yep.
And then you blow that out of the water by having too many cooks in the kitchen, by stopping and doing Mandalorian 2.5, and make it so scattershot. And then you get to the finale episode.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things I like about the finale episode, and there are things that I don't like about it. When they have the ending of, I think it was the ending of episode 6, when they blow up the casino.
Yeah.
I went,
that was very Godfather.
Whoa. Okay, now we're getting ready to get dark.
You remember, I think it was Godfather 2, where Michael turns and he sees the car and he realizes just a split second early, no, and then the car blows up.
The first one, yeah.
Oh, it was the first one, right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of, and I'm like, there are so many homages to The Godfather here.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not catching that, then you're not following what they're trying to say here, you know.
You know, and then the first thing they do in the last episode, in the finale episode, is you have the shooting of Cobb Vanth. Now, oh fuck! This is going to be a wipeout. You know, they're going to go into this dark area. This is truly going to be a war where both sides are going to lose people, and if you're going to lose people that you've come to care about.
I'm actually surprised that more people didn't get killed in the final battle.
Yeah, because I was ready for that. I've got, okay, well, shit, we could.
I felt like nobody was off the table. I thought we could lose Fennec Shand. We could even frickin' lose Boba if they weren't planning on doing a second season. You know, we still don't know.
But no, where was I?
You were expecting it to be a bloodbath, and
yeah.
And it kind of gets Disney-fied, which I can understand. But anyway, what
were you with us, Stephen, last night when we did the rewatch on Paulie's channel?
Yeah.
Okay, so and I think I said there, I was like, if people were expecting, Desperado in Book of Boba Fett, I'm sorry, it's Disney. You can only go so far. But we got some pretty heavy shit. We got the Rancor biting somebody's head off and crushing somebody and
Snack time.
Yeah, it's snack time. It's like, and he's supposed to be a juvenile Rancor, right? I mean, just like I did feel like he and Grogu were kindred spirits. It's like, I've done a lot of work. I deserve a snack. Honk,
Yeah. Yeah, we No. I have no problem with the fact that it's a PG-13 show. because it is.
It kind of is. I mean, technically, yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. But am I the only one who noticed that like the same guy got shot like 3 times and used the same shot?
No, but I've only seen it the once, and I know there was a lot of... There clearly was some editing issues with that last episode, especially. Just look at Black Chrysanthemum, the Wookiee.
Yeah.
He's beaten up so bad that he can barely stand, and then suddenly he's running, and then, he's being supported again. It's like, yeah, either something's out of order here, or there was not enough time for a second take on something, or something. But because I was going into this knowing, based on the rumor from Doomcock, that there was a lot of last-minute reshoots and editing,
you could tell.
I kind of expected it, so it didn't bother me too much. You block that out and you go, okay, that's a production error. Look at the overall story. And honestly, I wish people would do that with this whole series. There were a lot of production problems. Look past that at the overall story. And if you are a follower of Latino Slant, who has been doing weekly commentaries with Tom Conkle, that's exactly what they do. Tom Conkle understands the writing process, the appropriate homages. He gets it. And the mise en scene, right? A lot of people throw that term around. There's other YouTubers that go, the mise en scene. But Tom Conkle really understands it. And he'll take a screenshot from the Book of Boba Fett, and he'll explain, see what's going on the left, see what's going on the right, see what's in focus and see what's not in focus, and why. When you start thinking through those kinds of things, you're watching a film intelligently. And you know that your filmmakers are making intelligent movies. And if you're just watching them to eat popcorn and enjoy the boom booms, you're missing all of it. Before I cut you off, Stephen, was there any other big, broad strokes that you wanted to cover? Because I wanted to focus you in on some specific things.
Okay. Just a couple more things.
Sure.
Basically, I understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But we got this stitched together Franken show, and that's just what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it a Franken show because that's what it is.
It's not unfair.
And we deserve better than that. And that's what I'm saying is that on a whole, because of this studio infighting, because of the fact that they no longer respect the fans, we got this show that I can't recommend. I can't tell anybody to see this. Why should I? Why waste the time?
That's fair. That's fair.
It's got good points to it. I'm not completely dumping on it.
No, you're right.
You feel it was half finished. Is that what I'm getting the point of?
It's half finished.
Let me rephrase and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is something I've heard a lot of people say. I say, hey, it's better than the sequel trilogy.
Oh, for sure.
And other people say, well, that's not a sufficient bar. Okay? Mediocre isn't good enough. I want Star Wars. Now, I get that. I absolutely do. What everyone needs to understand is that ain't how Hollywood works. It's not like your own private business where you can come in after running a themed restaurant and go, this isn't working. We're closing down today. We're changing the decor, and we're just doing a simple Italian restaurant. Hollywood doesn't do that with franchises. It takes time to pivot. One of the phrases I've been using for over 3 years now, and I've heard Valiant Renegade say many, many times, it's like the Titanic. It's like a big ship with a tiny little pin. It doesn't turn on a dime. It's not a race car that can turn quickly. Even race cars have to swing wide, right? It takes a long time, and you might be scraping hard against that iceberg before you turn away from it. That's what we're seeing here, and I'd like to say that if you are seeing mediocre and saying that's not good enough, I'm going to say, if it ain't bad, it's good. We're on the right track. The next one will be better, and the next one will be better, and the next one will be better.
I wonder, though.
I understand.
Will the audience have the patience for it, though? I mean, using your analogy you just made,
yes,
the audience probably still thinks the ship is going to crash into the iceberg.
Well, and this brings up a point that one of Cameron's followers made in the comment section of his Patreon. She said, the problem here is you're talking about a premium product. You're talking about a show behind a paywall.
Yep.
And you want me to pay for it. If you want me to pay for it, it needs to be up here. Okay? If it's going to be mediocre, you better give it to me for free. If it was on ABC, it wouldn't be as big an issue as being on Disney Plus. And that I can understand. That I can buy.
I mean,
however,
wasn't the big selling point of Disney Plus is that you're bringing the movies are going to be the movies you love are now TV series like Winter Soldier and all this other stuff.
Exactly. And we've seen how the past couple of years have destroyed franchises that way. But be that as it may, I get the whole paywall concept. But on the other hand, if you saw Valiant Renegade's most recent video, he made an excellent point. This week we just got the quarterly numbers, the investors call, right? And Disney's doing pretty damn good, including they're doing better on their streaming service than was expected. That does two things. One, it kind of invalidates the whole, well, it's a premium service, I expect perfection. And two, it says they're moving in the right direction. The things that they've done that are getting better will continue to get better because we have incentivized them through our dollars to say, you effed up big time, but things are getting better. There was a big drop off when you fired Gina Carano, but the shows have gotten better since then. What shows? And maybe I'm putting too fine a point on it because it's not just Star Wars. It's also Marvel and all their other content when you're talking about Disney Plus, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the thing with me is that if you're going to insult us on a daily basis, give us something that, in my opinion, is substandard.
Yeah.
Kenobi had better shit Tiffany cufflinks because that's the last chance I'm giving it.
Yeah.
I tell you, if Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fight or even wind up in the same room or 6 feet away from each other at any point during the show, forget it. I'm out.
That's a big point that I've made about why Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett don't suck. If the worst you can say is they're mediocre, the reason is there's nothing about them that breaks canon. You can point to, flashy space Vespas and clean faces that don't fit Tatooine and, what other nitpicks you want to pick on. But they don't turn classic characters into wimps and cucks. They don't break established canon. And they still tell a reasonably good story. That's why they're not out completely offensive. They may not be great, but they're not bad.
No, I'm not offended by anything in it. It's a scattershot story, and that takes me out of it.
You're right.
don't expect, at the same time, I don't expect it to be Star Wars. The thing that everybody has forgotten is Star Wars is Star Wars. It's
Yep.
lightning in a bottle.
Yep.
What are the chances of doing that again?
Well, I'll go one better. I will say Star Wars is one movie, and then it became 3 movies. Then it became 6 movies. But it was a series of films, 2-hour movies. Once you make it a TV series, the feeling changes. You have to expect that. You know? And I don't feel that Marvel ever figured out how to marry a TV series and what they were doing in the movies. Now, that's not Favreau's fault. If Favreau had been in charge of all of it, it probably would have been much better. But they did the DC model of the movies and the TV series are peas and carrots that we don't allow to touch on our plate. And that did no one any good. You know, so.
But I did want to make another point that deleted scenes is saying, though. I think the crux of it is that Hollywood is acting like, many people in Hollywood are acting like the moral authority of this country. I've made comments to them that they want to be priests, and the actual
kind of like putting the wolf in charge of the hen house, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but my point was, but the problem is what we like them for, and what we've liked them for is that, despite all of the annoyances when they do their little preaching stuff, is that when push comes to shove, when they're acting in a movie and when they're making the movie, they put out a good product that we want to watch.
Yeah,
and that's why for so many years some of this stuff was probably tolerated. But now they're not even doing that really well for a whole host of reasons, which would be
true. You know, I want to pivot into the looking to the future, right? Yoda kind of berated Luke for, always with you, the future, the horizon, instead of your mind on what's going on here, what you're doing. Let's look beyond what's going on here and look to the future, right? Some good things, right? We talk about a lot of the Easter eggs, right? And they're not wasted Easter eggs. They're good lore building Easter eggs. Sometimes they put stuff in there. Favreau is doing it. Well, maybe it's Filoni more than Favreau. Going, I think that this cartoon or this comic book or this book is canon mostly, in my opinion, and this is how I'm going to establish it. By adding this character, this droid, this object, this whatever, right? But I think there's an Easter egg that has been sadly overlooked because it's not a visual, physical Easter egg. It's an audio Easter egg. Let me real quick play this for you. Hold on.
I am Boba Fett. I am Boba Fett.
I don't believe that was a coincidence. You listen to it, and the timbre and the tempo are exactly the same. I am Boba Fett. And whether it's, whether it's the holiday special or it's the Book of Boba Fett, he says it the same way. I had a friend who was really bothered by the special editions that George Lucas did. And while most of us were getting upset about the whole Han shot first thing, his whole problem was Tamara Morrison dubbing the lines for Boba Fett. He's like, I grew up hearing one voice in my head, and now this breaks it for me. When I look at the holiday special and I compare it to Book of Boba Fett and I see that similarity, I go, that's Boba Fett. I dig it. Now, I don't believe they're actually trying to say that the holiday special is canon, but The first episode of The Mandalorian was wishing people Happy Life Day. Just saying.
Happy Life Day. Yes.
Yep.
We've done that. Yes.
Right. But yeah. And there is one other clip that I want to bring up, but first I'm going to highlight from way back in the beginning the comment that Skipper Kenner dropped as a conversation starter. I do think it does deserve a comment. In the meantime, ponder this. As it is established canon that at what point in between Star Wars and Empire, or during Empire, does Luke get sidetracked and end up on The Muppet Show? And for those of you that have absolutely no idea what we're talking about, I am going to play a little clip for you. And I hope I don't get, slapped down by the YouTube, bots. If I do, don't go away. If they take the stream down, I'll probably be back. Don't freak out, but check this out.
Angus McGonagall, 15 seconds to curtain, Mr. McGonagall.
Yes, sir, little buddy, I'm raring to go.
Oh, look, it's Luke Skywalker and C-3PO, and R2-D2 from Star Wars. Oh, they'd make much better guests than Mr. McGonagall. You're gonna have to leave.
Just
Sorry.
a minute,
Come on,
youngster.
let's go.
Excuse me, Master Luke, but what is this strange world we've come to?
Beats me, 3PO. Seems we've landed on some sort of comedy variety show planet.
It's the Muppet Show with our very special guest stars, the stars of Star Wars.
Now I want to watch that episode.
I know, it's great.
Remember
and
what
they
it was
do
like
this whole
when you can have fun with Star Wars.
and they do this whole shtick where they bring in Mark Hamill as though he's like a twin brother or something to Luke Skywalker. So he kind of plays a double role. And as I recall, and I'm thinking back to the 70s on this, Kermit says to Mark Hamill, "Oh, so you're an actor?" "Yeah, I'm an actor." "Can you do anything else? Can you do anything for a variety show?" "Well, I can gargle Gershwin," which was the talent that McGonagall was supposed to have had, which is a stupid, silly Muppets kind of a thing to do. So yeah, Skipper Kenner is suggesting that this was canon. I, in my mind, always assumed that this was, I was going to say before Empire, but he is wearing the fatigues we see him wearing in Empire Strikes Back. So I'm still going to stick with it has to take place before Empire Strikes Back. He must have had that outfit as part of his uniform before, he was, wearing the Arctic camo, on Hoth, and the cold weather fighter pilot outfit in the battle because, I just don't see any time within the span of time in Empire Strikes Back that he could have ended up on the Muppet Show. But, between the award ceremony in Episode 4 and, the time on Hoth, there was plenty of time he could have done that. So if I had a guess, I would say that. But I'm not so sure it's canon, Skipper Kenner. Sorry, not really buying it.
Maybe it should be though.
I think we need to be a little bit more relaxed about some of this type of stuff. And
we could have Kermit the Frog in the new Snow White movie, and that'll take the attention.
Actually, I would not be opposed to seeing, a Muppet Star Wars story. My word. It totally could be done. I see that. But what do you think about that, Steven? Do you think the Muppets should be considered canon with Star Wars?
No. But it's just...
I like how he tries to take it seriously, and he's like, no!
I'm gonna lay another one on for you. Is Captain EO part of the Star Wars universe?
Oh, for fuck's sake,
you
no.
don't think so? That's great. Okay, so when I have a suggestion that something should be canon, I get shut down.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking for the sake of a regular listener that because honestly, there's a story in one of the comics where there's where the Millennium Falcon crash lands on Earth, and many years later, Indiana Jones finds the bones of the pilots, and it's like, and Chewbacca is the cause of all the legends of Bigfoot, and I'm like, that's cute, but a galaxy far, far away, there's no way they're getting here. That's not the way hyperspace works. No. But I do like Matanui. Why the hell not?
It's a funny what if.
It absolutely is. I will say this though. I'm taking him too literally, but I do think that Jon Favreau has a soft spot in his heart for the holiday special, because there's been a number of nods and tips of the hat to it. I mean, I think everyone pretty much accepts that The Mandalorian is canon. Therefore, Life Day is canon. It is a thing that exists, right? And he's also bringing in all kinds of other things from the EU. I don't see any reason why, I mean, not that I think he's going to be doing a lot with Chewbacca and Han Solo, but if he does, I would not be opposed to finding out that Chewbacca's married and has a kid, I mean, could be. I think it would be interesting world building, or galaxy building, as the case might be. But, yeah, I agree with you, Steven. I don't think that the Book of Boba Fett was, all that. But it was okay. It wasn't a holiday feast, but it was a pretty good ham and cheese sandwich. Got me through. There were some things I liked about it. For lunch I'd have it again. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to the big holiday dinner at Life Day. Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody shouldn't like it. If you enjoyed it, great. I'm glad that you did. If you think that Disney did something good, just say so. And I want them to get back to being the studio that they once were.
And I do feel like they're getting there. When you see and everyone is so focused on, hell, they're focused on Lucasfilm. They're focused on The Mandalorian. They're focused on the last friggin' episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And it's like, guys, this is Disney. This is big. This is way bigger than what you're seeing, okay? And when we talk about the Civil War going on behind the scenes, we're not just talking Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau. We're talking Bob Chapek and Bob Iger. We're talking about the overturn of the leadership of Disney. We're talking about changes that are going to be sweeping across Disney in the parks, at Lucasfilm, Marvel Studios, everything. One of the things we'll be talking about on Geeky Geezers on Sunday is about that Disney series, the prequel or whatever they were going to do to Beauty and the Beast being canceled. It's like there's and wasn't it like completely done? They are finished with this. Well, we put so much money into it, we got to continue on with it. They've gotten to the point of, no, we're cutting our losses. This is a piece of shit. It was a waste of money, and we're not going to waste more money on it. We now have people in charge. The adults are back. The adults are back to running things. And you're still going to see something like the Book of Boba Fett that could have been all kinds of worse. And if saying it was mediocre is the worst you can say about it, that was a victory for the good guys, as things turn around. But I think, and honestly, we've got Andor that's finished. That's probably going to half suck too.
Yeah, that one I'm worried about more.
We have Obi-Wan Kenobi that's also done. That's probably going to half suck, but
They need to get that right, though.
True, but watch for things, and they actually have more time to correct things than they did with Book of Boba Fett was way over fast-tracked, but you're going to see some problems with the next couple shows, but then look, and most fans that have the perspicacity are doing this. They're saying, well, I'm not too concerned about those two shows. I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. Not because they're big Ahsoka fans, but because they understand that's the project that is really going to make the difference in righting the ship, so to speak. You know what? Artificer Joni makes the point I was thinking in the back of my mind. Muppets Christmas Carol and Treasure Island movies are pretty good. A Star Wars movie could work too. Yeah, and how would it be any worse or different than a Star Wars Lego movie? It doesn't have to be canon. It's just got to be fun, right? And it's got to introduce you to the Muppet characters and introduce you to Star Wars characters, and you sell some toys. Some Miss Piggy figures with the buns, and whatever. I don't know,
The buns, okay.
You laugh, but that's how she dressed in that episode of the Muppets that I just showed.
Okay, but that yes, I agree. Yes, okay.
And yeah, Matanui, I know you. I kind of like Ahsoka too. Netter, I feel like, is starting to come around. She hated Ahsoka at the beginning.
Still do.
Well, and rightly so. The way she started out was
bratty.
Yes, absolutely. But brats grow up and mature, and
what's his name on?
She was a child.
Yes, it's exactly. She was an arrogant child. In fact. Not John Favreau, Dave Filoni specifically said he wrote her to be insufferable. He intended you to dislike her. She was written as an intentional Mary Sue because he wanted, and he didn't want to, well, let's face it, he had many, many seasons to develop her. So he wasn't rushing it. Not only was she insufferable, but she had enough victories under her belt to merit her own pride. But then some things happen that dash that pride. Pride goes before a fall. And the greater the pride, the greater the fall. And she humbles out pretty damn fast. And then she starts to turn inward. And then she is removed from the Jedi Council. And you see her kind of go off into the desert to the figurative desert, not literal. We're talking about Star Wars, so I could have meant literal, but no, I mean figuratively. And when she comes back, she's a bit wiser for the wear. So now, as we see her interacting with Luke Skywalker, you're like, okay, she's earned this. And because Luke is now a Jedi Master, he can kind of see her as maybe as an equal. Maybe she's not a Jedi Master, that he is, but he does see her as someone older, wiser, someone who has experience that I can draw on. It's, that's simpatico. And I think that's a good thing. That's not Ahsoka taking over and saving the day and being a Mary Sue. That's how you use characters like this. That has nothing to do with her gender or anything else.
But now we're to call her kind tailheads, apparently.
No, that's offensive. The only one that didn't was the toady guy that, that never gets old. Trust me. Racial slurs get old very fast. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. I didn't even think about that till you said that. You're absolutely right. Actually, I liked this guy. I hated him, but I hated him in a good way, like good character development. I would have found Andy Dick to be so insufferable, I probably would have stopped watching the show. You know?
There was a point in the show where it was just like, just shoot him.
I know.
Shoot him.
Netta was saying that through the
So
whole
many
series.
times.
And I that last episode, I'm like, yeah, he's probably going to get shot. And when he didn't,
gone.
I was
He's
like,
done.
I'm kind of surprised. But he's one of those kind of characters like a Dr. Smith from Lost in Space, where I could see him now showing up as the comedy relief going forward, you know?
When he went out to give the terms, I thought for sure the terms were going to be like, take this guy and shoot him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of what happened in that last episode. He was sent out as cannon fodder. The fact that he survived is a miracle. And kudos to the actor. I mean, I know, Boomer, you don't know what we're talking about, but deleted scenes knows. He goes out there to negotiate, and he opens up the terms that he hasn't seen yet, and he goes, Boba Fett, the daimyo of the town, and this and that, offers.
And you can just see him go.
And then he goes to the second screen, and he's like, these are his words. Because he's like
his words.
Shit, I know. If they kill the messenger, I'm a dead man.
When the guy pulls out his weapon, he just is like,
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Like, don't kill me.
Artificer Jody says, I've joked to myself that a Bollywood musical Star Wars adaptation would be fun. I honestly think of that meme that somebody did by combining the dance sequence from that Brie Larson film with the Trollolo. I think of that, and I just, yeah, Netta's losing it over that.
I think she's regretting that one.
She knows exactly what I'm talking about. And she got her ass kicked by Cad Bane because of it once. Yeah, Cad Bane was a badass. If you only know Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett, you're missing all the backstory. And what I loved was their dialogue in that last episode of Book of Boba Fett definitely speaks to all of that history. It canonizes all of that history, but you don't have to have seen it to understand it. You get the gist of it, as if those cartoons never happened, you know? Because there's a lot of lines. Well, go back and watch episode 4 again. There's a lot of lines that tell you a lot of story before there even was a prequel series. You didn't need to have seen the prequel series because it didn't exist yet. But you get all of that story pretty well, you know?
Yeah, cool.
Well, I made an allowance for the fact that there are going to be references that I wasn't going to get because I didn't see Clone Wars in its entirety, so I don't know Cad Bane.
Yeah.
All I have are the 2 episodes.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way, Stephen. Mm-hmm. You have... What are they drawing on? Okay. Honestly, if you listen to anything that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have said, they're drawing from canon. And for them, canon is anything that came before. They are not bound by what comes in the future. They can draw on it if they choose to, but they don't have to. But they are bound by what came before. And that's the 3 original Star Wars movies, the 3 prequels. Really, that's all they have to draw on. But because of who they are also drawing on the Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, and all the books and comic books that are out there that they choose to. They're taking the good things that they enjoyed. They're ignoring the things that were shit. And I think we're getting the best of all worlds, really. And that's probably the thing that hurts my heart the most, is that minor things like a series that wasn't up to snuff and Space Vespas and Grogu chose the chainmail should not ruin all of that. Enjoy. Be. What was it that Qui-Gon Jinn said? Be in the now. Be in the now. Enjoy what you enjoy. Enjoy what's going on right now. Don't worry about the future. The future will take care of itself. Always in motion is the future, Yoda said, right? There is a reason that we are doing 5 years after Return of the Jedi and not 5 years after The Rise of Skywalker. Okay? Always in motion is the future. The present for us is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. I don't care that there's 3 movies out there. That's the future, and that's not written as far as Yoda's concerned, as far as the Force is concerned. Honestly, as far as Star Wars is concerned.
Well, we have to wait. We'll find out at some point.
Exactly, and that's a great place to be. I remember as a kid at the end of Empire Strikes Back when I was like, no, you can't leave it like this. And back then, this was before there was an internet. So there was no way to know that for sure there was a sequel coming. You know how I first found out that there was going to be a sequel? My first indication was the collector's cards, the Topps cards, and they all had trivia on them. The first card would have a question, and then the next card would have the answer. The next card would have a question, the next card would have an answer. And the question was, is there going to be a sequel to Empire Strikes Back? And I didn't have the next card. And I flipped out. And I kept going and buying bubblegum because I needed to get that next card because I wanted to know the answer. And the answer was yes. It will be called it will be called Revenge of the Jedi. And it was maybe 6 months after that card came out that I started seeing posters and things for Revenge of the Jedi. And it was announced in Bantha Tracks, the fan club magazine. And I was like, yes, we're going to get a sequel and it's going to resolve all of these, I didn't even know the term cliffhanger at the time, these loose ends, got to find out what happens. That's a kind of a good feeling. That's anticipation. It's something to look forward to. We haven't had anything to look forward to as Star Wars fans for a long time. Now we do.
Well, we have. What's next, Obi-Wan?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the release dates. If Stephanie was here, she would know the release dates. I know
May
that
25th.
Okay.
For Kenobi, May 25th, the
which
45th
a lot
anniversary of
exactly. A lot of fans were like, "Oh, you're missing the opportunity to put it out on May 4th." Yeah, no. There's a more important date that's not as catchy. It's not as, roll off the tongue, but it's an anniversary. And anniversaries deserve to be honored,
Gotcha.
know.
Okay.
Speaking of things looking forward to, I did get my Razor Crest today, so I will be doing an unboxing video this week, including showing some of the action figures that I got in anticipation of the Razor Crest. I've actually got a lot of toys to share that I've been kind of putting off because I just haven't had time to film, but I will be getting to those. On a non-Star Wars related note, I did get some Ghostbusters figures that I was looking forward to. I will share those in an upcoming video. But before we close out the Star Wars talk, Steven, any last thoughts on Star Wars and the future for us?
Well, the future is up in the air. And I told this, I said this on Doomcock's member stream the other night. I'm not ready to give up.
Yep.
To me, I need to see what happens with Kenobi.
Yep.
Because that's going to be the make or break for me. Now, I don't know the whole story behind the original showrunner being fired. But I hope the fact that they now have Deborah Chow in there that she was able to salvage something out of what could have been a total train wreck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you. I tuned in to about 5 minutes of that member stream and clicked out. And frankly, I ended my membership. I can't go down the black pill stream. I can't anymore. And that's, I hope you don't feel I was being dishonest, but that's partly why I brought you on the stream, Stephen, because I knew that you kind of didn't care for the Book of Boba Fett, but you haven't taken the black pill. You are still in the hopeful camp. You are still objective enough to see that things can turn around.
Because one thing that has never changed is that I have my own sort of personal rating system.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it really hasn't changed that much. I'm saying this because I posted this on Twitter and I made a big deal out of it. I'm on Letterboxd. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a website where you can review movies and television and whatnot. And I posted my rating system.
Okay.
And I said, look, I know this is going to be harsh. I don't give out perfect grades. And if I feel a movie or a TV show is below a certain point, then forget it. Don't bother to see it.
Yeah.
And I know that that's harsh, but I haven't moved away from that because there's a certain... If people are going to bother to listen to my opinion, I have to stick to a sort of a certain code, Yeah. I have to stick to a code of, if people are going to listen to me, then I got to be honest with them. And, if it's something that's really good, like Dune, I'll say so. And like I said earlier, if it's like one of these, straight-to-video Bruce Willis movies, I'm going to say that too. And to me, Boba Fett is somewhere kind of in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Where there were parts of it that truly worked for me. But then, like I said, it's the scattershot nature of it that took me out of it because I don't understand ultimately what the point of it was.
Yeah.
Now
I kind of feel like we need a like a director's cut of this series,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Agent Boomer, I know you haven't even seen the Book of Boba Fett, but based on the things you've heard and seen, do you have any thoughts about Star Wars and where it's going? Or am I putting you on the spot? You don't necessarily have to answer.
Here's what I think. That I'm here as the outsider looking in. This is how I feel. I feel Mandalorian season 1 did very well because I think, despite the fact that I think audiences were actually split on Last Jedi. I know a lot of us in the chat are shocked by that, but I think some audiences did like it, and I think Mandalorian was still capitalizing on the popularity of Star Wars at the time. Rise of Skywalker comes out, and I think that's universally. I mean, if you can find someone who likes that, I please have them meet me because I don't. Maybe Eric Butts liked it. I don't know. Then a year later, we get Mandalorian season 2. I think that was successful because one, there was no big holiday movie last year. Because
Good
Hollywood
point.
decided we can't put anything out in the theaters. Oh no! So I think that was the big pop cultural moment, and of course, seeing Luke come back, and that was a big deal. Again, I haven't seen either of these series. Book of Boba Fett comes out, and I do notice that the audience, people were not happy. I know that the Critical Drinker wasn't as harsh as some other people, but he called it filler. I think that's how he described it.
I hadn't heard that, but it's not unfair. Honestly, he's not wrong on that. I'm kind of surprised because he usually does the tongue-in-cheek, drunken rants about everything. So I would have expected him to go rough on it.
Then I saw him on another stream too, where he was still talking about the episode. I just think he had the drunken rant. Then I heard him talking about it just like a normal person. But I think it's kind of just a filler show. Because they needed something to put on TV this year.
I do want to comment on what Artificer Joni said. He said, I have not yet seen The Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett. You know what? I honestly think that if you haven't, that's not a bad thing. I think that these shows, I think they are suffering from the way they're being released. They're behind a paywall. You have no option to see it unless you go to the high seas. And people that are seeing them week to week are making judgments that are kind of unfair. That I don't think things like everybody is so deifying, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai drops all at once, and you can binge it.
Yeah.
You can't do that with Book of Boba Fett.
It's a problem, yeah.
And people are picking it apart, and it's like, would you just wait until the series is over? Just like a movie, you don't judge the movie by the prologue or the first 5 minutes or whatever you've seen up to the intermission or whenever you decide you have to go to the bathroom and refill your popcorn. You watch the whole movie and you do a review on the whole movie. Watch the whole Book of Boba Fett before you judge it, So, go ahead.
But I did want to reiterate what Deleted Scene says. They have to get Kenobi right. Kenobi actually does have to hit it out of the park, I think the audience might get up and leave whatever is left of it. I think they'll just get fed up. We need assurances. I mean, Kenobi's a big deal. Star Wars character, Ewan McGregor is coming back. They have to make that good. That can't be filler. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I agree with you. I think the other problem, kind of to add to that, is you have not only the fact that Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett are behind a paywall, but even the first season of Mandalorian has not yet been released on DVD.
I had a theory about that, though. I think the reason for that could have been maybe it's because they do want their exclusive content to get subscribers. I thought another reason was they were waiting for the show to finish and then they were going to put it in a box set. That was my original thought with all 3 seasons.
Either one, they're shooting themselves in the foot. It's time to release the seasons because, damn it, you need to get people out there. There's people out there that don't give a flying F about Marvel. They don't care about Dumbo and all your live-action remakes and all this other crap that would buy The Mandalorian. And maybe if they like the first season and the second season of The Mandalorian and they bought it, they'd go, yeah, maybe I'll subscribe for that Boba Fett thing and, check out this Obi-Wan thing. But they're leaving money on the table by not releasing it, and they're shooting themselves in the foot. And they're getting all of the subscribers they're getting, and that's it. So people want to own physical media are going to do what I do. They're going to make their own DVDs, and Disney makes bupkis on that. Just saying. Time to get yourself figured out there, Disney. And I think they are. I think 2022 is the season of the new regime. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes, and I think we're going to be excited about what those changes are.
All right.
So looking ahead, Steven, do you have any... Well, you've already mentioned it, but go ahead and mention again, the Bud Boys, you're going to be taking his channel, and I'll drop that link for you.
My takeover of the internet one channel at a time.
The takeover of the internet one channel at the time. I like that.
I will be hosting Saturday Serial solo tomorrow, and that will be at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am going to be
Bud Boy Entertainment or Productions, right?
Bud Boy Productions, correct. I am going to be on Rambling Canucks Karaoke Saturday night. That'll be 10 p.m. And on Sunday, I'm going to be appearing on Jedi Bill 797's channel for his next episode of Sunday Western Cinema, and we are going to be watching Two Mules for Sister Sarah with Clint Eastwood and Shirley MacLaine.
Nice. I'm not that quick, so everybody bear with me. I just dropped Bud Boy Productions. I am dropping the Rambling Canuck and who was it? Jedi Bill?
Mm-hmm. Jedi Bill 797.
797. I know I subscribe to these people. Bear with me here. I'm trying to find the channel real quick. channel. Do you have the link for that stream? Drop it in the chat, because I know you have a blue wrench and you should go ahead and do that. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time finding it.
Let me do that.
But those are all channels that I know of, and if I don't subscribe to them, I absolutely will, and you should too, because as PJ of Orville Nation always says, we grow together, and that is my goal. Aged Boomer, I know the things that are coming up, but would you please share with us tomorrow night?
Yep.
We have
Big Al's channel, correct?
It is. Is it Big Al? It is
I
Big
believe
Al.
so, and
I've dropped his link a couple times. We are doing a rewatch over on his channel of. Do you remember?
I can find out for you. Hold on.
I probably even just looked at it, to be honest with you. Big Al presents
something.
Big Al presents. Oh, not Big Al. Big Al presents. History of the World Part 1. Great movie. Great movie. I'm looking forward to that. Big Al hosts, and Ned are co-hosts, and I'm a regular guest, and that's always a good thing. Here is the actual rewatch tomorrow over on his channel. And then Sunday, what's going on Sunday?
Geeky Geezers. So we'll be talking about some interesting things, like a Robert Pattinson interview that I want to discuss, which sure will get me some ire from some of the obsessive Batman fans out there. But I've been avoiding talking about this movie, but he had to open up his mouth again, so I am going to be talking about that.
Yeah,
on Sunday. And we got other things to talk about too. Disney earnings report came through, and other interesting stories. And Babylon 5 reboot has been pushed off again, so we'll talk about that as well. Okay.
Yeah, and if you're a follower of Fresh Baked Nerd Cookies, she just did a video about that.
Yes, very good video.
Which covers it a little bit better than we're just going to kind of touch on it.
That's basically I got the information from her, but I'll credit her.
I just dropped Aged Boomer's channel, although his link is in the description, but he does not have the link for Sunday up, because this guy has not gotten the notes in the thumbnail together. We will get that together, if not tomorrow night before Big Al stream, then Sunday morning as is the usual. And so there you go. Cool. That brings us to, is there something going on Tuesday that you
Not Tuesday, Wednesday, Birdman and I believe we are going to be doing a rewatch of The Accidental Tourist, and he may be having a guest
on.
Oh, right on.
The John Williams movie, so it should be interesting. Okay.
Obviously, you're going to look at you're going to be looking at the things as he does generally on his channel from the perspective of the soundtracks of the shows.
And I'll ramble on about ninjas and whatnot. I'm sorry, but
is that how it generally goes on
Tuesday. Tuesday, I do have something. My mistake. Mr. Matchstick's channel, we are going to do a rewatch of Lupin the Third, The Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid. That is an awesome title for a feature. The Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid. Come on, Hollywood.
Hey, it sounds like a good title. I don't know it, but
is that anime?
That is anime.
It's an anime.
It's stuff I don't know about, but
yes, we have to work on that. But anyway.
And his channel is, I will drop that right here.
All right,
there you go.
Cool. But we'll
and that's
do that
Wednesday, Thursday.
I have no idea if anything's going on. And then we get to Friday. What are you doing next week? Are you going to do a rewatch?
Friday. Let me check the calendar real quick. That is the 18th. You know what? The current plan. Haven't put together a thumbnail or anything, and I have to confirm with my planned guest, is going to be kind of a deviation from what we usually do here. I am reaching out to your Muslim uncle to do a joint religious-based stream. I was chatting in one of the chats about just a little bit of struggle of faith of the heart and religion and so forth, and got a lot of encouragement from your Muslim uncle, who, as you might guess, is Muslim. Kind of being an encouraging voice and a balm to a fellow believer. Obviously Christian, he is Muslim, and I thought it was so nice. And then I got a private message from Kamran Pasha, saying, some very encouraging things from, again, the Muslim perspective to a Christian. And I thought that was something I really wanted to focus on. So I reached out to your Muslim uncle and said, would you be willing to do a stream with me on this topic? And he said, I don't want to get into a debate about, Christian versus Muslim. I said, no, that's absolutely not what I want to do. I want to kind of talk about, the things that you just talked about, the encouraging things, a Muslim to a Christian. And I, you feel free to, share your channel and what you do. And it's a little different than what we generally do here, but I think it would be generally encouraging. Aged Boomer, of course, you never have to be there, but you generally are.
No, I'll send it if you.
You might come from the Catholic perspective. Sure. I'll come from the what I like to call the recovering Catholic, but generally non-denominational Christian perspective, and I think it'll be good. That's the current plan. I have to verify with your Muslim uncle and make sure that's what's happening, but that's the current plan for next week, Friday. And I'll throw out the general invitation to other, YouTubers out there. Stephanie Janiczek, I know, is very Catholic. I know Big Al talks about Catholicism. By all means, if you want the StreamYard link, I'll throw it out to you guys. But otherwise, certainly hope to see you guys in the chat, and we can share our stories and where we're at in our spiritual walk. And one person that I know won't be here is someone who is always talking about Catholic things, but she's been having some problems, and I'm not expecting to see her on my channel anytime soon. Okay. Someone who's in the stream, and there was some stuff going on behind the scenes, so yeah, I know Aged Boomer knows what I'm talking about, and Netter's Network knows what I'm talking about, but she won't be here in the foreseeable future, and it's a shame, but it was bound to happen, because I know Netter, as a blue wrench, has had her finger on the dump button a couple times, and I just dropped that. I dropped that myself on this stream, and it's a shame, but guys, keep it positive. And in future streams, we will be bringing in other YouTubers that I consider to be positive. For example, Positive Fandoms. You know her as on Polystream and Midnight's Edge. And she has her own streams. She does stuff with the Burnett. Help me out. I'm drawing a blank. The Burnett Report, I think it is.
Oh, I don't know.
She does a lot of work with him, and I'm planning to do a stream with her, but we haven't locked into a date just yet. Working on that going forward. And just like I've done with Stephen Otten Deleted Scenes tonight, and on was it a couple streams back? We did that rewatch of Mulholland Drive. My goal is to have other YouTubers on, and as we do on other streams like PJ from Orville Nation, we all grow together. So I intend to have other YouTubers like that as guests, talk about what they like to talk about, build up their streams, and yeah, we'll be doing that in the future.
Cool.
All
right,
any
good.
last thoughts? Netter of Netter's Network, of course, link in the description below. But Netter's Network in a couple weeks. Netter, do you remember what you're doing in 2 weeks?
Beetlejuice.
Ooh, yeah,
Okay.
we'll be doing a rewatch, and whenever Netter's Network is doing a rewatch, I will host it on my Discord stream, and I'll drop links as necessary. But
cool.
I'm just the supporting guy. But yeah, that's what we're seeing in the future.
Cool.
Any last thoughts? Anything else that you can think of, Steven or Agent Boomer?
I'm good. Good night. But
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you all for being here.
Yep, we certainly appreciate.
And tune into Steven tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Right, and I've dropped the link a couple of times, and of course he's a Blue Wrench, and he'll drop links going forward. But yeah, something to look forward to. And if you guys got nothing else, I'm gonna say that I super appreciate you being here. You guys are all awesome, and you know, I think that the chat is kind of family that we have created here in the YouTube sphere, and I super appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you, and hope to see you on the next one. All right, everyone, take care. Talk to you later.
Good night, ladies. Good night, sir. Hit it, sweetheart.